He was drafted #1 overall in 2004. Eli Manning embarking upon his 10th season as Giants quarterback and a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Meanwhile, Geno Smith, the rookie out of West Virginia, will start for the Jets tonight. He's battling Mark Sanchez for the starting quarterback job. It's the bragging rights game, the Giants and Jets.
They share a city. They share a stadium. Big Blue. Gang Green.
Bound for New York, gotta love it.
It's where stars are born.
What a one-handed catch by Victor Cruz, and he's gonna score!
And legends are made.
What a play by that kid.
Moments that change a team's fortune.
Running out of a tackle down the right sideline is Victor Cruz. Touchdown Giants! 99 yards!
Where a rivalry takes shape.
It's hard to walk around the streets and people get down on you. And if you lose to the Giants, then they're really going to get down on you.
And history reigns supreme.
Last time I checked, in this city to be a king, you got to have a championship.
Rivals once, rivals now. New York, New York. NBC 4 New York presents New York Giants preseason football.
And we welcome you to MetLife Stadium as the New York Football Giants host the New York Jets. Giants preseason football on 4 New York is fueled by Hess. Hello again, everyone. So glad you can join us. I'm Bob Papa with 2-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks. Preseason game number 3. Carl, what's the objective for Giants head coach Tom Coughlin tonight?
Well, I think the #1 objective, Bob, is execution of your first real game plan moving towards opening night.
All right, the Giants beset by some injuries on the offensive side of the ball this past week. David Boss is out. David Deal is out on the offensive line. Victor Cruz has a heel injury, so a little bit more pressure on quarterback Eli Manning.
Well, a little bit, but keep in mind, 2 of those replacement guys had extended work with Eli in the offseason due to a contract negotiation and a surgery by Boss.
And Eli's really good at kind of keeping things together. While the Giants quarterback situation is clearly settled, the Jets are very unsettled right now. Geno Smith will get the start tonight. The Jets' first preseason game against the Lions. He suffered an ankle injury, did not play in last week's game against Jacksonville. And Rex Ryan on Thursday announced that Geno Smith would get the start tonight. Their quarterback situation, Carl, is wide open.
It's wide open, but I don't think it's a realistic competition with a guy who's only had 7 snaps. It's going to take a little more for him to really say, I'm ready to start for an NFL team.
All right, the Giants have talked about and preached physicality throughout this preseason. They'll get a good test tonight.
Well, it will be, and they weren't very good against the run. They talked about toughness. This is going to be their first real test, again with a real game plan.
All right, what does the head man, Tom Coughlin, think about all this? Bruce Beck spoke with him a short time ago.
Tom, it's week 3 of the preseason. You've actually got a game plan. How important is this dress rehearsal?
Well, it's very important to us because this is a time when the players have had an opportunity to study the opposition, to get into what is close to a normal routine, in-season routine. And, of course, everyone knows in this game right here, the starters will be extended further, and so the play time is extended, and therefore the opportunity to evaluate everybody takes place here in this 3rd game.
It's a home game against the Jets. I know you're excited. Do you want the fans excited too?
The fans, I hope, are really into it. But what we've got to do tonight is make some very serious evaluations.
Evaluations and execution tonight, though?
We'd like to have execution. We'd like to have production. We'd like to see some plays made. We felt last week we didn't make the plays that were there to be made. And this week we're looking forward to that.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Back to you, Bob.
All right, we look forward to hearing from Bruce throughout the course of the night. Now, normally Howard Cross handles the sidelines, but he's in Alabama. Our condolences to the entire Cross family. His grandmother passed away earlier this week, so subbing in a member of the Giants Super Bowl 42 championship team, Sean O'Haron. Sean, welcome, and what are you zeroing in on tonight?
Well, Bob, tonight it's all about opportunity for the big fellas. We've got Jim Cordell at center, starting for the injured Boss, his first start in his 3-year career. And then really for Justin Pugh, it's our first chance to see him in a starting role at right tackle. The Giants' first-round pick from Syracuse. For these guys, you know, Bob and Carl, I mean, 1st and 2nd down, that's not really what I'm worried about watching. It's 3rd down. 3rd down, Rex Ryan, this defense, they like to bring 5 rushers on 3rd down. So that's really where I'm going to be watching. And then for the Jets, opportunity for the big guy, Vladimir Ducasi, fourth-year guard. We saw him out there. He's actually one of the game captains for tonight. It's a great opportunity for him starting at left guard for Peterman. So really it's about the big guys, not just for my first time on the sideline with you guys. I'm all jacked up, but for these big guys, for a chance for them to solidify a position on the rosters.
Now there's Rex Ryan, head coach of the New York Jets in his 5th year as head coach of the Jets, 34-30 for each of the first 2 years. They made it to the AFC Championship game, came up 1 game short of the Super Bowl, and 2-time Super Bowl champion Tom Coughlin on the other side. Kyle Wilson ranges back through the back of the end zone, and Josh Brown's kickoff is a touchback. And Geno Smith leads the Jets offense out onto the field. Suffered an ankle injury in the game against the Lions, then tried to practice, and Carl, it was dubbed a brutal week. And when we talked with Rex Ryan earlier this week, he said, well, this week's practice certainly was not brutal.
Well, that's what he wanted to see in order to get this young man out there to get some reps.
And the job is wide open. He said there's no timetable to make a decision after this game. They want to give both guys a fair shake. Bilal Powell, the setback for the Jets. 1st and 10 from the 20. Smith will throw, pass batted at the line and incomplete. Take a look at the starting lineups presented by Wendy's. I think Linval Joseph got a piece of that. Stop by Wendy's for a Monterey Ranch crispy sandwich, 99 cents for a limited time. Prices may vary. Bilal Powell, the halfback, with Stephen Hill in his 2nd year out of Georgia Tech. I feel like he's making progress. The offensive line, as Sean mentioned, Vladimir Dukas in his 4th year out of UMass gets the start. Willie Colon, former Steeler, is the right guard. Smith's next pass to the near side incomplete, intended for Clyde Gates. Stevie Brown got pressure on the quarterback as we take a look at the Giants starting defense presented by Wendy's. Matthias Kiwanuka and Justin Tuck, the defensive ends. Big battle at the tackle position. Cullen Jenkins has played well. The most scrutinized position for the Giants is the linebacker position. Tonight, Dan Connor will get the start in the middle for the Giants. Aaron Ross starts at one corner, along with Prince Amukamara, the safety Stevie Brown, and Ryan Mundy. 3rd and 10 for Smith and the Jets. Smith has his tight end, Kellen Winslow, and he's short of the first down right in front of Prince Amukamara. He's about a half-yard short.
Well, the Giants defense pressured all 3 downs there, Bob. They knocked him down on the first down. 2nd down, he looked a bit confused, and he finally found his target on his 3rd attempt.
So the Jets will have to punt. They go 3 and out. 9 yards on 3 plays. Robert Malone in to punt for Rex Ryan's Jets. Malone in his 3rd year out of Fresno State. J-Ron Hosley back deep for the Giants. Good spiraling kick. Hosley at his own 11. Gets a good coverage, and Hosley dropped at the 15-yard line. 60-yard punt, and Demario Davis on the tackle for the Jets, limiting Hosley to a 7-yard return. So Eli Manning leads the Giants offense out onto the field. Manning has struggled in the preseason, not able to get the team in the end zone. The Giants have been a little stagnant with opportunities. Carly's just 10 of 22 in the preseason, and the 1 touchdown to Victor Cruz in the opener.
Well, the coach said in his presser today, just get it in the end zone. Doesn't matter if it's red zone or in the field. Just get the execution.
David Wilson starts at tailback. Pasco and Myers, twin fullbacks, on a 1st and 10. Now Myers goes in motion. David Wilson on the carry. Wilson with speed. Wilson to the outside. He could go all the way. David Wilson to the 20. David Wilson will score. Touchdown Giants, 84 yards.
Wow. Wow.
And how about the block by Will Beatty, the left tackle, and Akeem Nicks?
They got their guys, but I tell you, when Wilson got to the corner there, he just hit another gear, and this Jet defense struggles with speed to the outside, and they were challenged there. Both guys held their block, and boy, look at him go there.
Well, we asked Giants head coach Tom Coughlin about the Giants' red zone struggles today, and he said, hey, listen, I told them I don't care where you score from, just score. And David Wilson took care of that, 84 yards. Josh Brown's extra point is good. So David Wilson shows that burst in that speed, which made him a first-round draft pick out of Virginia Tech last year. David Wilson from 84, no flip. Giants upset. Well, David Wilson last year's long run was 52 yards in the regular season. Here in the preseason, he goes 84. And the Giants with a 7-0 lead over the Jets on the first offensive snap for the Giants. And Carl, incredible speed as Rex Ryan watched Jacksonville go up and down the field in the first half last week. And Blaine Gabbert, and he watches David Wilson cover 84 yards in one play.
Well, that's why I nicknamed him Turbo, because he has another gear once he gets going. And boy, this is something that the Giants fans can look forward to.
Brown to kick off. Kyle Wilson back deep. Wilson's going to run it out to the 15, and that's it. Great coverage by the Giants. Tyler Sash got down there to make a hit. Well, now it's time for our Toyota keys to the game.
Well, front and center, Bob, has got to be Jim Cordell in this offensive front. They've got to be able to make the calls against this Jets front, which we've seen they've done so far. And then you've got playing slots with Victor Cruz out. Which receiver will step up? Jarrell Jernigan was the guy they were counting on, and I call it backer force. Will this linebacking group step up to expectations?
Bilal Powell on the inside handoff runs right into Spencer Pasinger, picks up 4. Keys to the game was brought to you by Toyota. Bilal Powell in his third year out of Louisville. Ryan Mundy also in on the hit as the Jets sub out Powell and bring in extra wide receivers. Terrell Thomas has come into the ball game for the Giants. He wears number 24. Terrell playing in his first game in 2 years after suffering a knee injury in the preseason 2 years ago against the Bears. Great story for Terrell Thomas. Smith back to throw. Little check down out of the backfield. Kellen Winslow gets shouldered down right near the first down marker. Aaron Ross came up to make the hit for the Giants. There's Terrell Thomas. Carl, he had 10 interceptions and 200 tackles in the 2 years leading up to the knee injury in 2011, and it was an innocuous play near the end of the first half. Got hit by JPP, his own teammate, and that was the second time he had torn the ACL in that right knee in college, and it's taken 2 years to get back out on the field.
Yeah, most unfortunate, but you've got to give him a lot of credit for his work ethic and getting back on the field.
Chris Ivory on the handoff as flags fly. I think Cullen Jenkins was the Giant offside.
Officials probably should have blown that one dead.
John Parry is our referee this evening.
Offside, defense, number 99, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Cullen Jenkins called for the penalty. Jenkins has been a nice addition to the Giants so far, Carl.
Well, I'll tell you, Jenkins and Sean Rogers add a different personality to this defense. This defense can kind of be flatlined. These are two high-energy guys. Sean Rogers is a mountain of a man, and Jenkins is a high-energy guy.
1st and 5 for the Jets. Pistol formation. Linval Joseph this time jumps. The Jets have just picked up a free 10 yards.
Encroachment, defense, number 97, 5-yard penalty.
Not what Tom Coughlin wants to see in his third preseason game, but you would suspect that the Jets would put something in to try to keep the pressure off of their young quarterback there.
So the Jets picked up a first down on the pass play to Kellen Winslow, and then back-to-back offsides by the defense, and it's 1st and 10 from the 35 for the Jets. Smith with a slant, and the pass incomplete. There's a flag on the play at the 40-yard line, intended for Jeremy Curley.
Illegal contact maybe on Aaron Ross?
Illegal use of hands to the face, defense, number 31, 5-yard penalty.
Aaron Ross gets called for the penalty, and I'm guessing Tom Coughlin's face is starting to turn red. 3 snaps, 3 defensive penalties.
Let's take a look here. Yeah, he's got his hands up high. I'm not so sure that was a hands to the face, but intentionally or not, they have to call it.
So the Jets picking up yardage via the penalty, 1st and 10 from their own 39. 2 tight end set. Bilal Powell, the back behind Smith in this pistol formation. Smith with some time. Smith's pass knocked away by Stevie Brown, but he's going to get called for interference. He ran through the defender, the wide receiver, Stephen Hill. That's going to be 4 straight snaps by the Jets offense in which the Giants have committed a penalty.
Yeah, now Stevie Brown had a good beat on the ball, but the receiver kept drifting, and they made contact before he touched the ball there. Here's a look at it. Stevie has it, but boom, there's the contact, and then there's the ball. Can't do that.
18-yard penalty.
They're across midfield with 2 plays, actually.
Terrell Thomas back in for the Giants. Jaquan Williams in as one of the linebackers. 1st and 10. Chris Ivory tries to find some room. Matthias Kiwanuka grabbed him around the ankles after a gain of 3. And no penalty on the play call.
Giants got a chance to play a real defensive play.
I'm talking with Rex Ryan. He said we want to eliminate the mental mistakes on defense, play physical, and offensively move the ball and not commit self-inflicted penalties, which they've done. Well, the Giants have reversed that for them with 4 defensive penalties on this drive. 2nd and 7 for the Giants 40. Hill in motion. Smith, Winslow, hurdles 1 defender, Terrell Thomas, and then steps out of bounds at the 36, gain of 4. That'll set up 3rd and 3 for the Jets.
Keeping Geno into a manageable game. Little play action, misdirection, toss, drop down to the flat. Want to keep a receiver in that intermediate zone for him.
Kellen Winslow in his 9th year out of Miami, beset by knee injuries throughout the course of his career. Former 6th overall pick of the Browns. Third and 3 for Smith. And the Jets got the first down to Curley. Chased out of bounds by Prince Amukamara at the 26. Gain of 10 on the play and a 1st down Jets.
Let's take a look here at Curley. Got him isolated there, just running in the flat. Prince Amukamara was doubling on the inside guy there for some reason.
Look at Vladimir Dukas starting at left guard. His 2nd year out of UMass, Jeremy Curley, 56 catches last year for the Jets. 1st and 10 at the Giants 27. Powell plows off the right side and takes it to the 23-yard line. Spencer Pasinger got the first hit. And it's a gain of 4 on the play. Jets went 3 and out on their first possession. On the Giants' first offensive snap, David Wilson off the left side went for 84 yards and a touchdown. This Jet drive aided by 4 consecutive Giants defensive penalties.
One thing you can't do.
Four wide receiver set. Powell comes in motion. Smith under pressure for Powell, incomplete. He felt the pressure and just got rid of it.
I'll tell you what, though, Powell is going to get an earful in his coach's meeting, too. He short-armed one. He saw the defender read it. He turned that one down. Well, he turned down a big hit, too. He was bracing for the hit.
Jaron Hosley got pressure. Tom Coughlin cited him in our production meeting. They want to see Hosley be more consistent for that secondary and the nickel and slot packages.
Yeah, he gives them a lot of depth if he can execute and be more consistent.
8th play of the drive, 3rd and 6 for the Jets. They pick up the pressure. Smith over the middle and wide open, and dancing to the goal line and in is Ben Obomanu for the touchdown.
Yeah, he dumped that one down underneath again. No one was looking.
So Geno Smith throws his first touchdown pass.
Ron Hosley just limped off the field there. That's good read by Geno Smith.
Jets did a nice job picking up the pressure and then a lot of green. And Obomanu scored his 7th year out of Auburn, signed as a free agent this year. And Nick Folk on for the extra point to tie this game at 7 with 9 minutes to go in the first. Operation is clean, and Folk converts the extra point. So Geno Smith with some time, able to find his man and get the Jets on the board here at MetLife Stadium. Geno Smith with a 22-yard touchdown pass to Ben Obamanu, and we are tied at 7. The sideline report brought to you by New York Lottery.
Bob, I saw Geno Smith on Monday at practice. The first pass he threw was intercepted. The second pass was just dropped by a linebacker. The third pass was a gorgeous touchdown pass. He's inconsistent. He's young. He needs reps. As Lou Carnesecca used to say, nothing happens in the performance that doesn't happen in the rehearsal. So he's got a chance here after good practices Tuesday and Wednesday to come back strong, and that was a heck of a drive he just engineered for the Jets on that last drive. Bob?
All right, 8 plays, 86 yards. Going over things with Mark Sanchez and the Jet coaching staff. Nick Folk with the kickoff. Rookie Michael Cox to return it for the Giants. Cox with speed out to the 30-yard line. Kyle Wilson made the tackle. Geno Smith talking with offensive coordinator Marty Morningwig. He's got a touchdown under his belt. And we welcome you back to MetLife Stadium. Marty Morningwig talking with Mark Sanchez. You see Matt Sims and Geno Smith looking over the Polaroid pictures. Geno Smith with a touchdown pass on his second possession. Jets and Giants tied up at 7. Giants' second possession. Manning and the Giants will start from their own 29-yard line. Wilson took the first offensive snap and went 84 yards for a touchdown. He'll try the right side this time and gets a yard and a half, and that's it. Muhammad Wilkerson on the tackle as we send it down to Sean O'Hara.
Hey guys, listen, you know, we've talked so much about this third preseason game and how there's actually a game plan. We've got to give credit to Marty Morningwig, and you gave him a shout out there, Bob, talking to the quarterbacks. But really, look at that. That first drive was 3 and out. This second drive, they come back. Typically, we would always script the first 15 plays of the game. So that was Marty Morningwig at his best, moving the pocket for the quarterback, small, short completions for Geno Smith to kind of get his confidence and get his rhythm.
2nd and 8 from Manning. His pass from Nix, incomplete. Flag in the play. Kyle Wilson is going to get flagged with the contact on Akeem Nix.
That's a good point Sean just made with Marty Morningwig managing
Pass
the
interference.
quarterback.
Defense, number 20. Contact without playing the ball. Automatic first down.
Moving the pocket, giving him short routes here. Let's take a look at Akeem Nix here. There's a lot of contact.
Wilson's got a hand on the jersey. 12-yard penalty. So it's first down for the Giants at the 43-yard line. Manning to throw on a play fake. Deep ball down the left side, and the pass just out of bounds, incomplete, intended for Ruben Randall. Antonio Cromartie on the coverage. Giants starting offense is presented by Wendy's. They've had to reshuffle the line. David Wilson took the first offensive snap of the game, went 84 yards for a score. Ruben Randall starts for Victor Cruz, who's out with a heel injury. And the offensive line has been shuffled with David Deal having thumb surgery this week. So Jim Cordell in at center. Booth moved back to left guard, and rookie Justin Pugh at right tackle. Jaron Hosley of the Giants, who on that touchdown pass came on a blitz and was picked up by Bilal Powell, sprained ankle, not expected to return. Wilson nowhere to go. Muhammad Wilkerson and Damon Harrison with the pressure. That's a loss of 2 as we take a look at the Jets defense. And Muhammad Wilkerson is someone that Rex Ryan gave us glowing reports on when we spoke with him on Thursday out of Linden, New Jersey. David Harris leads the linebacking core for this Jets team. And the secondary, Kyle Wilson gets the start. Dean Milliner, the rookie out of Alabama, has been bothered by an injury. New safeties this year for the Jets. There's Muhammad Wilkerson from Linden High School in Linden, New Jersey, by way of Temple. 3rd down, Jets bring pressure. Manning for Jernigan, and he overthrows it, incomplete. Wilkerson got the pressure.
got pressure. They had it picked up relatively well, but just not enough time for Jernigan to get open there. But Jernigan didn't get open in time to get the ball.
So Steve Weatherford in the punt. As Manning and offensive coordinator Kevin Gilbride talk things over. Low snap to Weatherford. Curley back deep for the Jets. Curley from the 9. Curley gets to the outside and run out of bounds at the 20-yard line. With 7:04 to go in the first, tied up at 7. Gorgeous night in New York City and just a couple miles away in East Rutherford, MetLife Stadium. Giants and Jets, third preseason game. Sean Rogers in at defensive tackle for the Giants. 1st and 10 Jets. Misdirection of Powell, hit by Kiwanuka, and then Mundy comes in and cleans it up along with Keith Rivers. Gain of 4 on the play. Geno Smith 5 of 8 for 50 yards in the game and the 1 touchdown.
That misdirection was misdirected by Sean Rogers. He was deep into the backfield there, and good read there by the runner.
Sean Rogers trying to make this team in his 13th year out of Texas. Missed last year because of a blood clot in his leg. 2nd and 6 from the 23. Powell in the backfield with Smith. Hill the motion man. Smith back. For the circle route, dropped by Powell at the 25-yard line, and Smith took a hit from Justin Tuck and Sean Rogers.
Okay, this is where the Giants linebackers are really going to have to come into play here. They're running everyone off, dumping everything down. Let's take a look at the hit. It's pushed there by Tuck and Rogers.
Well, Carl, I mean, when teams game plan for the Giants, and this is a game that you do a little bit of game planning, you're going to look to try to get isolation on the linebackers until they prove otherwise.
Sure, you go vertical and then check something down and see if they can come up and make a play.
3rd and 6. Smith to throw. Obamanu knocked away by Prince Amukamara, and the Jets go 3 and out. So Geno Smith and the Jets for the 2nd time tonight go 3 and out.
There he is, a little tentative throwing it out there and unsure of the coverage on his wide receiver.
Ryan Quigley signed as a free agent. Boston College now in the punt for the Jets. Not a good kick to the near side into the Jets bench. And it is a poor kick, and it'll give the Giants good field position with 6:06 to go. 35-yard punt coming September the 5th. NFL kickoff at NBC. The Super Bowl champ Ravens take on the Broncos in a playoff rematch. Then September the 8th, Sunday Night Football, Giants in Dallas to take on the Cowboys. NFL kickoff weekend coming September 5th, only on NBC. And for the 2nd year in a row, the Giants and Cowboys will open up the season. Last year it was here at MetLife Stadium. Cowboys victorious. The Giants will try to return the favor, having not lost yet in Jerry Jones' new Cowboys Stadium.
4-0.
1st and 10 from Manning from the 42. Feels pressure, and he's going to get sacked by Sheldon Richardson, the rookie 1st-round pick out of Missouri.
I want to see if he came over Cordell on that one. One of the things that Coach Kaufman said about Cordell, he's not a powerful guy. There he is getting pushed back there. Yep, he's not a powerful guy, but smart and can get position. But you can see he just pushed right back into the quarterback.
And Rex told us about Richardson, a great athlete, plays very hard and is active. Taken 13th overall. Loss of 7. 2nd and 17. Slip screen to Wilson. Jets converge on it. Harrison at the bottom of the pile made the tackle in the initial hit. Gain of 3. Eli Manning and the Giants trying to put a drive together.
Yeah, they've sputtered along other than the first play of the game.
84-yard touchdown run by David Wilson, trying to get a little rhythm. Andre Brown in the game at tailback as Manning will roll the pocket. Manning to the sideline of Jernigan. Out of bounds, incomplete. He was short of the 1st down anyway. So the Giants will have to punt the football away. Jarrell Jernigan with an opportunity here to make this football team. Jernigan, third-round pick in 2011.
With pretty good footwork there. He just threw it out there. Jernigan's a guy that they've grown a little frustrated with because they had high hopes for him based on what he did in college, and to say he's inconsistent would be high praise at this point.
Weatherford takes a high snap. Just got it away. Curley, a fair catch at the 18-yard line. 42-yard punt, no return. Fourth offensive series for Geno Smith. Giants and Jets tied at 7. On the New York Giants for a new and exciting kickoff to the season Monday, September the 16th for the Big Blue Barbecue at MetLife Stadium to benefit the Touchdown Fund Score for Kids, Cardiac and Cancer at Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation. For more information, go to Giants.com. Dan Connor battling Mark Herzlich for the starting middle linebacker spot for the Giants. Signed as a free agent from the Cowboys. Started his career in Carolina. Fourth offensive possession for the Jets. Started their own 19-yard line. Powell and Bohannon, the back. Smith over the middle. Passes intercepted by Prince Amukamara. He stepped right in front of the receiver, Ryan Spadola, and took it away.
Prince had great position on that, but he accelerated into that pass once he read it. Not sure if Geno Smith could have put that one any better. Looked like a really good pass thrown on timing. No, a little bit behind him there.
And right there, he had to reach back, did Spadola, and Prince Amukamara, who's had a very strong preseason, gets the pick of Geno Smith.
Yeah, he's a little late there, threw it behind this receiver. The receiver's got to become a defensive back there and break that one up.
The Giants see if they can capitalize on the first turnover of the game. Wilson, the tailback, with Myers and Pasco in the backfield. Now Myers in motion on 1st and 10. Wilson wrapped up by Dewan Landry, the former Baltimore Raider, Jacksonville Jaguar, after a gain of 7. So they ran off the right side that time as Prince Amukamara gets the interception. His 3rd year out of Nebraska.
Another look here. Geno Smith throws it. Yep, it's behind the receiver. And now the receiver's got to play defensive back. Not a good pass there by Geno Smith.
2nd and 3 for the Giants. Wilson, the tailback. Pasco, the fullback. Pressure up the middle, dumps it to Wilson, and that's going to actually lose yardage. Been better off dropping it. For more on Prince, we send it down to Bruce.
Hey, I talked to Prince earlier this week, Bob. He said being consistent, staying healthy, being confident, huge factors this year. Plus last year, he went up against the likes of Miles Austin and Antonio Brown and said, I can do this stuff. And he goes up against Hakeem Nicks and Victor Cruz in practice every day. That's really important for his development as well. Bob?
And he certainly has shown a lot more confidence in this camp and in the preseason. That pass play lost 4 yards. So now with the play clock down to 3, Manning audibilizing at the line and does not get the play off. And the Giants got the timeout just in time with 3:05 to go in the first quarter. Tom Coughlin told us today, he said, look, this is a great test for us. The Jets are going to give multiple looks. They're physical up front in passing situations. We know Rex is going to mix it up a little bit. They blitz 65% of the time. This is what you're looking for when you test your team in the preseason to see where you are with the regular season looming.
Absolutely. When it comes to your blocking assignments and knowing which guy has who, this is the team, Exhibit A, the New York Jets, and their multiple looks up front.
For more on that, let's check in with Sean O'Hara.
Yeah, Bob, you mentioned that 3rd down. This is really the money down for Dennis Thurman, the defensive coordinator. They like to go with the odd look. Right here, what you're seeing is a triple look, what we call it. Center's covered, both guards are covered, and then you've got that brings a 5th rusher. So look for them to bring 5 here.
All right, 3rd and 7 for Manning. Randall, the motion man for the Giants. Giants protect well. Manning slipped as he throws it to the out. And it's incomplete, intended for Hakeem Nicks.
Say Eli was drifting a little bit there in the pocket.
Darren Walls on the coverage, so the Giants get the Prince Amukamara interception, but not able to pick up a first down.
And there's Cordell there fighting in there and didn't give much ground. The pocket was pretty clean.
Weatherford to punt. At 22 inside the 20 last year. Curley with a fair catch at the 9-yard line. 31-yard punt, no return. The Jet offense heads back out onto the field in a 7-7 game. Well, tomorrow the Premier League continues on the NBC Sports Network with a matchup between Tottenham and Swansea. Coverage begins tomorrow morning at 11 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network. From football to football. The NFL regular season begins for both of these teams 2 weeks from tomorrow. Jets host Tampa, the Giants here on NBC4 New York in Dallas. Chris Ivory, the tailback in this pistol formation for Geno Smith. Gives for Ivory, the former Saint, gobbled up by Tuck, runs out of that tackle. Cullen Jenkins can't get him to the ground. Stevie Brown will, along with Aaron Ross, for a loss of 4.
Now that's impressive by this Giant defense when everyone maintained some leverage on the football. Not everyone went flying to one side of the field. Everyone had a lane and they maintained it. There's Stevie Brown maintaining his, coming up. Aaron Ross.
That was a spread out gap control call.
That's what you want when that ball and the defense gets lopsided. That's where the backside runs come in, and they did a good job in their distribution.
2nd and 13. Smith to throw. Smith to Ivory. Ivory gets upended across the 20-yard line, but he's got a first down.
Another dump down there, and trying to get these linebackers out of position, going vertical on the defensive backs. And
Ryan Mundy was the guy that submarined Chris Ivory. Ivory brings a physicality to the running game after a gain of 16. You kind of see how the Jets want to attack the Giants, Carl. Everything underneath. Don't let the Giants get a pass rush going.
And that's also complimenting the quarterback here. Marty Morningwood giving him some short, quick, easy reads. Look downfield, nothing there, drop it down.
Smith with time, pass for Winslow, incomplete. Mundy on the coverage.
See, one thing that's really apparent here with Geno Smith is this game is moving a little faster from a timing perspective. The balls are coming out late. He almost wants to be sure the guy is open before he throws it. Staring him down there, and just got to let it go if it's a timing route.
Vladimir Dukas has limped off, so Brian Winters, a rookie 3rd-round pick out of Kent State, is in the game at left guard for the Jets. Rex Ryan excited to see him in his first preseason action. 2nd and 10. Ivory finds some room to the right and then gets a couple. Keith Rivers on the tackle for the Giants. Keith Rivers, Tom Coughlin noted Rivers has done some good things. Mentioned Pasinger. Talked about Connor. He says he seems to be a smart guy, but seemed very uncertain as to who's going to line up against the Cowboys.
Well, the problem is, Bob, they have a lot of one-in-a-rows. They need some consistency. They need to string a lot of good plays together as a man and as a position, because there is an expectation for that position.
3rd and 9 for Smith and the Jets. Giants bring pressure. Smith high over the middle, intercepted by Stevie Brown. He had 8 last season, and Brown gets his first pick of the preseason. Ryan Mundy got pressure on Smith, and Smith throws his 2nd pick of the night. 22-yard return.
Stevie Brown stayed down.
And that is bad news for the Giants.
If he got the wind knocked out of him or what, they're not. Looks like they're checking his leg.
And that is not a good thing with Antro roll out with an ankle injury. Stevie Brown set a Giants record last year with 307 yards of interception return yardage and 8 interceptions, which was 2nd most in the NFL. Dr. Russ Warren looking at the knee and leg of Stevie Brown. Carl, we're going to take a look at the interception by Brown and then what transpired in the aftermath, because the whole medical team is out there.
He just stops and goes down, cutting, and then two guys fall on the leg.
Just grabbed that left leg. And obviously Brown is up, not able to put any weight on that left leg. And that is not a good sign for the Giants. Stevie Brown, who was signed last year as a free agent, former 7th-round pick of the Raiders, was just a find for the Giants. And Carl, the Giants got pressure on Smith, and high over the middle is always dangerous.
Yeah, he's there, staring it down, gets the ball out of his hands, throws it right to the center fielder. Now we can look. Stevie's just running, kind of stops the plant and just falls down.
So again, the Giants start in Jets territory after a Smith interception with 24 seconds to go here in the first. Wilson picks up a couple. Garrett McIntyre on the tackle after a gain of 1.5 yards. And that should be the final play here in the first quarter of play. Well, David Wilson on the first offensive snap for the Giants staked them to a 7-0 lead with an 84-yard touchdown run. The Jets responded on their second offensive possession. It was Wilson out of the chute for 84. And Geno Smith threw a touchdown pass to Ben Obomanu, tied at 7 after 1. Giants and Jets tied at 7. 2nd and 9 for the Giants at the Jets 22. Randall in motion. Manning, Hakeem Nicks can't make the play. Darren Walls with good coverage there, Carl. He gave Nicks no room along the sideline.
Yeah, he pushed him, and Eli just had to lead him out of bounds. That's good coverage there.
Darren Walls, in his 3rd year out of Notre Dame, signed as a free agent last year, former free agent of the Atlanta Falcons. Manning 2 of 7 so far, for a total of 0 yards. Andre Brown in at the tailback as the Giants face a 3rd and 9 in Jets territory. Jets with pressure, Manning with time. Manning through the hands of Randall, incomplete at the 11. Would have been a first down. Randall, who has had a good training camp, not able to reel that in. 3 catches so far in the preseason for 33 yards.
Yeah, Eli throws that when he comes out of the break unprepared to catch that ball. Got to be able to make those.
So Josh Brown will try a 40-yard field goal. He's 7 of 8 so far in the preseason. Weatherford to hold. Brown in his 11th year out of Nebraska. Operation is clean. And Brown converts from 40 yards out. And the Giants now with a 10-7 lead. Well, you know, the Giants-Jets preseason game has been filled with some interesting moments and some defining injuries over the years. Just in recent history, Jason Sehorn trying to return a kickoff. He suffered a knee injury that knocked him out for the year. Brandon Short got hit on Chad Pennington. He suffered a wrist injury. And a couple of years ago, OCU Manura injured. And then Eli, remember, he got the double whammy and cut on the head. So there have been some injuries, and obviously Tom Coughlin and the Giants concerned about the Stevie Brown injury off the interception in what was a non-contact play, Carl. Looked like as he was on the return, his left leg just planted awkwardly. Carl, we're going to take another look at the Stevie Brown injury.
Yeah, it's just hard to speculate, but you'll see him plant right there, that left leg, and he just goes down right after that.
Reach for that left knee. So Brown to kick off for the Giants. Mike Edwards watches it sail over his head for a touchback.
Normally those non-contact injuries, when you see them go down like that, Never a good sign.
Well, the sideline report with Bruce Beck, brought to you by New York Lottery.
Stevie Brown headed to the locker room. He's got a knee sprain. That's all they're saying. He's a guy who lives by the mantra, Big Blue and Go Blue, a former Michigan Wolverine. He said to me earlier in the week, he loves to be around the football. It's about hustle and preparation, and we saw it in that play. And then, unfortunately, we saw the injury. We'll keep you posted if there's any further developments.
Will Hill in the game at safety. More on him in just a moment. 1st and 10 from the Jets 20. Stephen Hill with the catch. Gets 9. Tackled just short of the first down by Aaron Ross and Keith Rivers and Ryan Mundy. Well, there's Will Hill out of Jersey City. And Carl had a lot of trouble playing at Florida. Played well for the Giants last year with 30 tackles, a forced fumble, 13 special teams tackles. But he tested positive for street drugs, and he's going to serve a 4-game suspension to start the year. Giants are hoping he can get his life squared up, but he could have been an answer if Brown is injured. But you know you don't have him for 4 weeks as Powell takes the handoff and gets the first down across the 30.
Yeah, and it's a young man who you Coach Coughlin liked from day one. They thought he was long and could be a good blitzer for him, great range. But you've got to be responsible for your personal life if you want to do better for yourself and your family. And this league provides a great opportunity, and you've got to make a decision. You know, good life or a street life. We wish him the best. Hope he gets it together, but the NFL won't wait on him.
Mike Patterson and Sean Rogers are the defensive tackles for the Giants. As Smith, little flip to Bilal Powell. Powell hit by Patterson and Rivers and dropped at the 39-yard line after a gain of 7. Mike Patterson, another one of those defensive tackles with Sean Rogers, Marvin Austin, Jonathan Hankins, Linval Joseph, Frank Oakham.
There you go again. Underneath, the linebackers have got to come up and make plays on that. This is all about getting space for these runners. A little screen pass there.
So 2nd and 3 for the Jets from the 39-yard line. Mike Patterson, his 9th year out of USC. Empty set, Smith to throw. Giants with pressure. Curley dropped it as Connor closed in on him right near the sticks.
Yeah, that's good to see a linebacker in the vicinity there. That means he was pattern reading that one.
Check in on the sideline with Sean O'Hara.
Hey, Bob and Carl, listen, you know, one thing you want to do when you have a rookie quarterback, slow down that pass rush. How do you do it? With screens. So newsflash to the Giants defense, the Jets are running a lot of screens. They're trying to slow down that pass rush to help out that rookie.
Geno Smith has thrown a couple of interceptions. Prince Amukamara and Stevie Brown have gotten on each of the last 2 possessions. 3rd and 3. Powell hit and stopped short of the first down. Connor got his nose in there. Patterson got his nose in there. And Rivers was in there.
Good defense. That's a good defensive series there by this Giant defense, and trying to give Geno Smith a few things to take the pressure off of him. And the Jets running game, which has been suspect all year, they're trying to find a runner there. They're looking for some production.
With Jaron Hosley out of the game with an ankle injury as Robert Malone gets set to punt the football. Ruben Randall back deep to the Giants. Randall from the 5. Randall to the 10. Randall to the 15. So a 10-yard return after a 55-yard punt. Well, Ruben Randall and the Giants back on offense, leading 10-7. Time to take a look at the new faces, brought to you by Ford. To find out more about your Tri-State Ford dealer's great deals, call ** Ford NY from your mobile device. Message and data rates may apply. 2nd round draft pick Jonathan Hankins, one of the new faces for the Giants, getting a chance to compete for playing time. Justin Pugh getting his start tonight at right tackle. He was the 1st round draft pick. DeMontre Moore remains out with a shoulder injury. Cullen Jenkins, Mike Patterson have been nice acquisitions. 1st and 10 Giants from their own 16-yard line. Andre Brown, the tailback, behind quarterback Eli Manning. Brown can't find a cutback lane. No gain on the play. The entire front of the Jets pursued to the football nicely. Garrett McIntyre got a hit along with Damon Harrison.
You know, the key with the Jets to have success on defense, they've got to turn everything back in towards their big guys. They don't have that team quickness to the outside, but they can turn it inside. It's hard to run on them.
Rex Ryan was lamenting the injury to Quentin Coples, talented second-year man out of North Carolina who was playing well for them. 2nd and 10 from the 16. Jets putting pressure. Manning, Randall out to the 25-yard line, a yard short of the first down. Gain of 9 on the play. Kyle Wilson on the tackle.
Eli and Andre Brown both ended up on the ground. I don't know if Andre got knocked back into Eli or what. There's Brown. Yep, he gets knocked back into the quarterback.
So Randall had a drop in the last series. Makes the catch. Adrian Robinson has come in as an extra tight end for the Giants as they go to a strong formation to their right on this 3rd and 1. Brown the tailback. Brown takes the handoff. Brown does not get there. Might have lost a half yard.
Yeah, there's a lot of white shirts there on that right side of the line. I'd like to see if the young rookie Justin Pugh is able to get his block. See a lot of white shirts crossing the line of scrimmage there.
Harrison and Wilkerson on the tackle for the Jets. So a good 3rd and 1 stop for the Jets defense. And the Giants will punt the ball away. Under 10 minutes to go here in the half. Curley ranges back to his own 16. Avoids the first wave, and then Spencer Pasinger runs him out of bounds at about the 21. 60-yard punt, 6-yard return with 9:47 to go here in the second. Geno Smith's got a touchdown and 2 picks. Giants in front, 10-7. They'll come to the 3rd annual Giants blood drive at MetLife Stadium tomorrow, August the 25th. Space is limited. Go to redcrossblood.org for more details. And Geno Smith started 5 of 8 for 50 yards and a touchdown. Since then, 3 of 9 for 32 yards and 2 interceptions. Mark Sanchez in a battle with Geno Smith for the starting job for the Jets. Powell, the tailback, in a 1st and 10. Powell gets hit behind the line and dropped. Mike Patterson got the first hit on him. A loss of 2. Terrell Thomas on the tackle. Carl, let's take a look at Geno Smith so far tonight.
Yeah, his first pass from scrimmage, he gets batted down and he gets knocked down, and from that point he goes 4 or 5 and punctuates it with a touchdown, and then it goes downhill from there. Turnover number 1. Blitz, turnover number 2. Wasn't as easy as he thought it would be.
2nd and 12 as Smith will work out of a shotgun set. Jets with good protection as Smith to Bohannon makes the catch at the 25, tackled at the 26 by Terrell Thomas.
That was good patience there by Geno Smith. Justin Tuck was in coverage. He jammed the tight end at the line of scrimmage for about 2 or 3 beats, and Geno just drifted out of there and waited for him to uncover.
Gain of 9 on the play. And Thomas coming in to make the tackle. Linval Joseph pushed the pocket. Justin Tuck has been active in these preseason games. 3rd and 3. Smith with a deep ball for Hill, who makes the catch at the Giants' 40-yard line. Beat Prince Amukamara. It's a 1st down Jets. They finally challenged downfield, and Stephen Hill with the catch for 32.
Yeah, they neutralized the Giants' pass rush a bit, and they were able to buy his quarterback some time. Clean pocket there, no pressure whatsoever. He throws this one out on timing, and Hill makes a great catch. Right in stride.
So 1st and 10 Jets at the Giants' 41. 7:50 to go in the first half. Powell in motion. Smith, quick set, intercepted for the 3rd time. Justin Tuck dropped in coverage and got the pick.
Those are the things a young quarterback does. You know, you talk about replacing a veteran. You got to recognize that stuff, and you got to see it first.
Well, you mentioned Justin Tuck in coverage. Tuck with the pick. Giants up by. Gorgeous night, New York City. Well, Geno Smith picked off for the third time tonight.
Yeah, I didn't know where that one came from.
Justin Tuck got the pick. Back in 2008, Tuck had a 41-yard pick six against the Rams. Giants seemed to get some offense going. 1st and 10 from their own 34. Manning under pressure. Bear Pascal dives ahead and picks up 11 on the play. Carl, let's take a closer look at the interception.
You'll see Justin Tuck lined up here, and you've got man-to-man on the tight end. He never sees Tuck out there in the flat. You see man-to-man here. He says, oh, I got my guy. Never saw Justin Tuck.
So Geno Smith picked off by Prince Amukamara, Stevie Brown, and now Justin Tuck. 1st and 10 Giants from their own 44-yard line. In 6 previous possessions, Giants had 2 first downs. Manning, Randall took it away from Walls to the 49-yard line, gain of 5 on the play. Well, with Carl, we got Sean O'Hara with us too. I guess we need to zero in on this offensive line play. Remember, for a brief moment, Deal was moved to left guard and Booth was moved to center. But then when Deal had the thumb injury and then the surgery this week, they put Booth back at guard, Cordell's in at center, Pugh's in at right tackle, and Manning has not had a lot of time tonight.
You've got a big, stout defensive line, too.
2nd and 5 for the Giants. Andre Brown with room. He's got a first down and more. To the Jet 42, DeJuan Landry knocks him down. Ball came loose, but forward progress marked at the Jet 41.
That's good patience there, too. Will Beatty was slow getting up, but that's good patience by Brown, letting the blocks kind of adhere there, and then he just goes. Good job on the backside there, on the downfield by the tight end as well.
Sean, what do you see from downfield level on this O-line? We'll get Sean squared away in just a second.
Sean might be drawing up the plays here. That's why they're having success.
Andre Brown remains in at tailback. 1st and 10 Giants at the Jets 41. Manning on a 3-step drop. Brandon Myers to the Jet 36-yard line, gain of 5. And Antonio Allen on the tackle as we check in with Sean.
Hear me?
All right, Sean, take it away.
Yeah, actually, you know, Jim Cordell, it looked like there were some communication errors going on 1st and 2nd down there. You know, the interesting thing is the Jets, when you go 3-4 scheme, now the protection's changed based on the declaration, who you're declaring the mic, who you're declaring the down guys. Chris Snead, Kevin Booth, they were kind of having a mini huddle after a couple of plays there. So 3rd down, you could definitely be sure that they're mixing it up, but it's actually 1st and 2nd down that they're not all on the same page.
Cordell in his 3rd year out of Ohio State. Brown on the handoff, no room to the right. David Harris on the tackle. After a gain of a yard, Jim Cordell signed as a free agent in 2010. Played on special teams last year. Came in one game last year when David Boss lost his shoe. Interesting, Cordell was the backup at Ohio State for Nick Mangold.
Yeah. Now, Cordell was a guy who, for whatever the offseason is, with Boss being out, he got all the reps in the OTAs and things of that nature, so the familiarity with the offense is there.
Giants 0 for 5 on their 3rd downs. Play clock at 1. Manning on the 3rd and 4 with time. He's got Nix downfield, can't find it. He was wide open, and Nix couldn't locate the ball.
Lost it in the lights there.
Thought it was coming to the inside. The ball was to the outside, and Nix just couldn't find it.
Yeah. Now that's got to be on Hakeem Nicks, because it looks like Eli knew exactly where the opening would be. Looks outside, throws it outside. Nicks just doesn't turn.
Beat the safety downfield, but Manning not able to hook up. Antonio Allen was beaten by a step. So Josh Brown to try a 53-yard field goal. Operation is clean. Will it get there? And it's no good. Off to the left.
And that's part of the frustration with Hakeem Nicks missing all the offseason.
Well, Manning and Nix had a chance for a big play. Couldn't convert. Giants lead is 3. Tom Coughlin making notes here at MetLife Stadium. Time to check the out-of-town scores. Brought to you by Geico. Rex Grossman, 11 of 21, 171 yards and a touchdown. Obviously with RG3 waiting to get clear to come back and play. And Kirk Cousins battling an injury. Some of the other scores, Andrew Luck sharp again. Battle of Florida. Tampa leads Miami 7-3. Pittsburgh with a 10-0 lead over Kansas City. Brought to you by Geico. Best field position for the Jets. Their own 43. Smith high to Curley.
Ball's
makes
out.
the catch. Ball came out. They're going to rule forward progress at the 49-yard line. Ryan Mundy picked it up after he made the hit. That's a gain of 6, 7 on the play. Jets have turned it over 3 times. Geno Smith has been picked off 3 times.
Look at it, ball's high. Yep, he's down.
He was clearly down.
Coach Coughlin's challenging that. Not sure what he's challenging.
Previous play.
Giants head coach Tom Coughlin is going to challenge
We'll review the play.
the completion to Curley. And then the ball coming out. Preseason, you might as well.
Yeah, might as well see if they'll, how they explain it anyway.
Take another look at it.
It's pretty clean here.
Curley gets hit by Mundy.
Both feet
He
down.
bobbled the ball, hits the ground, and the ball comes out.
It's worth a challenge.
Could not tell if the ball was moving.
There was no
After the
whistle either.
It's hard to see from there if the ball was moving. He made contact with the ground. Another look. Good hit by Mundy. Squared him up right in the target area. Elbow hits. Looks like he's got possession of the ball and then comes out there when Mundy gets his arm in. Well, I think the play is going to stand. It's a good catch. And it'll be 2nd and 3 for the Jets, just short of midfield. Giants head coach Tom Coughlin obviously concerned. Jaron Hosley on the Jets touchdown pass that Geno Smith threw came on a blitz, got blocked by Bilal Powell, left the game with an ankle injury. And obviously Stevie Brown in a non-contact situation after his interception went down with a left leg injury. That's kind of the mantra of every head coach, general manager, owner in the NFL in preseason games. After a tackle is made, they just want to see all 11 get up.
Yeah, get ready for the first game. That's the biggest concern. You have abbreviated off seasons, abbreviated training camps as it relates to your physical contact. So it's almost like your guys are hitting again for the first time.
After reviewing the play, it's an incomplete pass. The airborne player must maintain possession as he goes to the ground. Incomplete pass, 2nd down. Please reset the game clock to 3:59.
Challenge by Tom Coughlin was correct. Incomplete pass, Carl.
The Giants are not charged with the timeout.
He's trying to start his streak again. Let's take another look at it. Not sure what they looked at. Both feet down as the ball is moving.
Ball
here.
hits knee and looks like it has a cradle in the arm, but he doesn't control it.
I guess the football move after the catch is what came into play.
And the football moving as he was going to the ground. So 2nd and 10 for the Jets. Ivory in a tailback as Tom Coughlin wins the challenge. Smith under pressure from Jaquan Williams. Just throws it away to Ivory, incomplete. Jaquan Williams came shooting through the middle, and Smith got it away.
And that's what they like about him. He's like a phantom. He can get from point A to point B in a flash. You'll see him come through here, and he can really run, closing in on him and gets him to the ground as the ball's coming out.
Carl, to the point you were talking about when we were talking to Rex Ryan the other day, he talked about the fact with the limited amount of practices that you have, you really have to make your best evaluations now in these games where you actually have some hitting.
Yeah, and it's, you can't hit in practice anymore, and that's, the kind of the rules they jointly agreed to. So You walk through, and then you hit for the first time.
3rd and 10, pass downfield, nearly intercepted by Prince Amukamara. Justin Tuck blasted Geno Smith as he unloaded the football.
Geno Smith is looking up at the Jumbotron, but you'll see here, that's good coverage by Prince Amukamara, stride for stride.
Pass intended for Muhammad Massaquoi, who was just signed the other day, former Cleveland Brown.
That's good coverage there.
Geno Smith took the shot from Justin Tuck, and Tuck did a good job to keep the head up and not get a penalty. Quigley to punt. Charles James zigging under it, and he makes a fair catch. A lot of dancing. 39-yard punt, no return. Well, make sure you save the date. Join Coach Coughlin for his annual Champions for Children Gala, Friday, October the 25th at Cipriani, 42nd Street in New York City. For more information, go to tcjfund.org or call 212-627-1000. Coach Coughlin, his entire family have done a wonderful job with the J Fund, not only here in the New York metropolitan area, but his annual golf event down in Jacksonville. TPC Sawgrass, where they play the Players Championship, and entrenched not only here in New York, where he's won a couple of Super Bowls, but also in Jacksonville, where he literally started up a franchise.
Good, a lot of good.
So with 3:39 to go in the half, Giants up 10-7. Manning will go for the shotgun. Single high safety. Miscommunication, and throws it at the feet of Jernigan, and then takes a hit anyway from Sheldon Richardson.
They brought him off from one side back, the right side away. And they brought him off from the left side.
Obviously miscommunication on what the play was, Carl.
The cover of the protection. That's what that was.
So again, the Giant offense has not looked crisp. Obviously, they're missing some key components.
And they're missing opportunities like the one they had with the Knicks.
2nd and 10. Jets bring late pressure. Manning. Jernigan with the catch. Out to the 40-yard line. And it's a gain of 20 for Jarrell Jernigan. Nice catch by Jernigan.
Yeah, great route. Ball was thrown on timing because the quarterback was under duress. Good job by Jernigan.
And with Victor Cruz battling that right heel injury that he suffered last week, there's an opportunity for somebody in the slot. As Tom Coughlin said, Jernigan, that's what we had in mind when we drafted him. But can he stay consistent? 1st and 10 from the 39. Manning, deep ball for Knicks, interference on Wilson. It's going to be the second pass interference on Kyle Wilson in this first half.
Now, what they're getting now, single high safety.
Number 20.
And Eli is saying, okay, I'm going to challenge your outside guys away from the safety and see if my receivers can beat you. They got the blitz picked up, and it's one-on-one coverage. The safety's nowhere to be found on this one.
23-yard penalty. Wilson out of Piscataway, New Jersey, by way of Boise State, taken 29th overall in 2010. Just really has not developed, Carl, to the level that they would have thought with Revis, Darrelle Revis now gone. They drafted D. Milliner, the 9th overall pick. And Wilson just up and down. 1st and 10 from 38 with a screen for Andre Brown, and the timing was off. Something you talked about last week, Carl, when we did the game on radio against the Colts. Their timing with screens, I don't know, it hasn't been sharp since Tiki Barber was here or David Meggett before that.
Yeah, it's an art. You got to run it. You got to practice it. And again, look, the ball's high, and there's a lot of disjointed offensive linemen there. You've got to perfect that, because Coach Coughlin would love nothing more than to get his backs in space this year as an additional weapon. He likes what they can do when they get the ball in their hand as receivers.
2nd and 10 at the Jets 38. They bring pressure again. Manning zips it for Knicks, incomplete.
He and Knicks are just not on the same page. Knicks has got to run that slant. Eli throws it. Got to get on the same page. by with the expressionless stare. You see it. He knows where he's going with it. Throws it to a window. Just not on the same page. Looks like he's a little bit frustrated. He got to work too.
Eli 7 of 17 for 49 yards. 3rd and 10 at the Jets 38. Pressure again. And they throw it downfield for Nix, who makes a one-handed catch with a flag on the play down at the 5. Working on Wilson, and it's going to be on Wilson, says one of the officials. 34-yard pass play.
Another way to make up for it to your quarterback when you're not on the right page. He threw that one up there, and that's the physicality that Giants fans have grown accustomed to with Hakeem Nicks. Now he's limping a bit, though. Not a good sign.
That's Wilson just holding him, and Nicks with a one-handed catch. That's the 3rd penalty on Wilson, the 2nd accepted. Nicks a little gimpy getting up and got hit late by Landry. So the Giants with a 1st and goal at the 4. 2:40 to go in the half, trying to add to a 10-7 lead. Red zone has been a big problem so far in this preseason. Manning with time, Manning with Jernigan, incomplete. He was covered by Calvin Pace.
Got to win that battle.
Hey, you would think that Jernigan, with his shiftiness, 5'8", 189 pounds, would not be covered by a 6'4", 265-pounder in Calvin Pace, whose specialty is getting after the quarterback, not necessarily covering a slot receiver.
Yeah, you got to be able to win that one, especially when you got space on your side.
2nd and goal at the 4. Jernigan is in a slot left, Nicks to the top of your screen, Randall to the bottom of your screen. Andre Brown on the draw. Andre Brown pinball down at the 2. Demario Davis got the first hit on him. The Giants do not have to run another play before the 2-minute warning. Leading 10-7.
Again, look at the patience of Andre Brown. He lets his blocking get set before he accelerates through a hole.
Harrison got off the block of Cordell and got an arm on Brown. Oh, which topping will be the Jets quarterback? A Sanchez or a Smith? The Giants are trying to add a playoff topping to their 2013 season. Of course, it all ends with the Super Bowl here at MetLife Stadium. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Bob Papa, Carl Banks, Bruce Beck, Sean O'Hara. Giants have a 3rd and goal at the 2. Myers, Robinson, Donnell in his fullbacks. Brown not going to get there. Stopped at the 1.
They just got whipped up front on that one. You saw a lot of blue shirts going backward.
Leger Douzable, the former Giant, got a hit.
Take a look at the blue shirts here. A lot of blue shirts going back. The arc of the line went that way.
You see your center, Cordell, on the ground. That's not good.
Giants are going to go for it on 4th down here.
4th and goal at the 1. Andre Brown a little frustrated. Jets called the timeout. 1:52 to go in the first half. Giants' only touchdown came on their first offensive snap. 84-yard run by David Wilson.
You know, half the battle is recognizing who you're supposed to block, and then the other half of it in short yardage is making sure you execute that block.
Donnell comes out. Hakeem Nicks comes in to give the Giants a little pass option here with the ball just inside the 2.
Or if the default to pass when you can't run, that's what it is in the field. Or are they going to spread them out, try to get a draw here? But it looks like the Jets are packed in there pretty tight, anticipating.
Ninth play of the drive coming up. Brown the tailback. Myers in motion. Manning lobs it for Nicks. Knocked away. Incomplete by Dewan Landry. So the Giants get stopped on a 4th and goal at the 2. Dewan Landry, whose brother Laron Landry played safety for the Jets last year, knocks it away from Nicks.
Got to be frustrating. You get in there that close, you can't score. Red zone failures. You don't want this to bleed into the regular season. You want to see some type of execution down here.
Well, Carl, you expect your best receiver to go up and beat the safety for the ball.
Well, look, you're gonna expect that they'll get in sync, but he's got to catch that when he's got those big hands and pull that one in.
So 1st and 10 for the Jets. Ivory, the tailback. Give it to the fullback. Bohannon plows into the line for 2. Now the Giants will call a timeout with 1:41 to go in the first half. Matthias Kiwanuka at the bottom of that pile. Well, coming up at halftime, we're going to bring you a special feature on a player that was great for both the Giants and the Jets. We will remember Pro Bowl punter Dave Jennings, our former broadcast partner, outstanding punter for the Giants during the lean years, and then made his move and played for the Jets, served as a broadcaster for both teams in the Giants Ring of Honor, passed away earlier this summer. We'll bring you a special feature on Dave.
He was great for my career, both as a player and as a broadcaster. Really taught me the ins and outs of the broadcasting profession, but also getting me up to speed as a young special teamer.
And one of the few players that played for both teams that was great for both teams. 2nd and 8. Smith under pressure. He's going to avoid the safety. Connor has contained, and he just throws it away incomplete. Out of the pocket.
Boy, they had a team meeting there in the middle end zone. That's where his mobility came into play. He was able to escape that rush and had 3 or 4 Giants in a pile there.
Well, Carl, Patterson and Rogers got nice pocket push along with Kiwanuka, but Dan Connor had nice contain here because Smith can run.
Yeah, that's good contained by Connor, but Matthias Kiwanuka, he kind of lost the edge there. He could have had the sack, and his men threw him to the ground.
3rd and 8 from the Jets 4 with 1:33 to go in the half. Bilal Powell in at the tailback. Smith out of the shotgun set. Smith feels pressure, throws it to Powell underneath. Powell dances ahead and he gets the first down out to the 15-yard line. Gain of 11 with 1:22 to go.
See, these are the things that the Giants linebackers are going to have to really be aware of. When you get into pass coverage, if there's nothing there in your area, you better find someone and close on them. They're just running you off vertically, and then there's your dump down. They should be on him like oxygen.
Basinger was late on the coverage. Tuck made the tackle, but it's a first down Jets with a minute to go in the half. Handoff Powell. Slithers away from pursuit and then gets chased down by Mundy at the 17-yard line. Gain of 2. There's a flag on the play.
Number 77, half the distance. Replay.
Holding
First
against
down.
the Jets. That's Austin Howard, the right tackle.
Now this is where I think Rex wanted to see how his young quarterback managed a 2-minute drill.
3rd accepted penalty against the Jets. Hey, Giants fans, be sure to tune into MSG Network this preseason and all season long for a weekly lineup of Giants programming, including the premiere of Giants 1st and 10, and tune in to My 9 all season long for Giants Access Blue, and then the postgame show after all games. Smith gives for Powell, and he runs right into Justin Tuck, who's had a very good night, including an interception. Now the Giants will call a timeout with 43 seconds to go in the half.
Yeah, that was a good job by Justin Tuck. He has been active when healthy. It's a good sign for this Giants defensive line.
30-second timeout.
And you know, some fans might be watching and saying, you know, what are they calling timeouts for? It's preseason, but situational football, because you're live so few amount of times really in practice, Carl, you don't really get a lot of time to go through a lot of the scenarios, just the mechanics of it.
Yeah, you want to have all the opportunities you can, like you said, in live action. And you know, the rules are what they are, and you have to make the adjustments in the game to see how they work.
45 seconds to go in the half. Giants in front, 10-7.
And I'm sure for the Jets, this is a situation they want to be able to coach from as well.
Giants are out of timeouts. Smith will give to Powell, and he gets stuffed. Ball popped out, but Austin Howard recovered it for the Jets.
Run the clock out here.
Marvin Austin got a hit on the ball carrier. Kiwanuka in there as well.
You know, this is a battle of the defensive tackles here. Both teams with their defensive tackles really making a lot of impact.
Well, they do not have to run another play with 17 seconds. In fact, the Jet bench has already departed to the locker room, and the Giant bench doing the same. So a sputtering offense for the Giants. The highlight, David Wilson's 84-yard touchdown run. Giants failed on a 4th and goal at the 2. Geno Smith trying to win the Jets starting quarterback job through a touchdown pass, but then 3 interceptions. Prince Amukamara got him. Mark Sanchez can only watch. Justin Tuck got the 3rd of the 3 picks of Geno Smith. At the half, Giants in front of the Jets, 10-7. Gorgeous life, gorgeous night at MetLife Stadium as New York Giants preseason football fueled by Hess. Giants lead the Jets 10-7 at the half. And Carl, if you're a Giants fan, obviously you have to be concerned about the offense and their lack of production. They had 8 drives, they had 7 first downs. Again, in a red zone situation, they don't score. And the only touchdown they get in the first half is an 84-yard touchdown run by David Wilson.
Well, if you're the Giants and their staff, you're going to be more frustrated with the missed opportunities more so than the execution. You know the Jets, they make it ugly for every team they play against, but they also give you opportunities. And they missed a few opportunities with Hakeem Nicks.
All right, obviously Eli Manning with a different offensive line, no Victor Cruz. On the other side for the Jets, you know, Rex Ryan trying to zero in on his quarterback situation. Geno Smith, he wanted to keep it even as far as the opportunities. And Carl, 3 interceptions after a touchdown pass.
Well, it's all new for the young man, and he's seeing it all for the first time. And I'm sure at times his head is spinning. Like, where did that come from?
Billy Cundiff with the kickoff. Michael Cox to return it for the Giants. Cox to the 25, and the rookie takes it out to the 30-yard line as we check in on the sideline with Sean O'Hara.
Hey guys, looks like Eli's grabbing for a hat. He won't be out with the offense. He's done for the night, I believe. But really, you know, you guys mentioned it. I mean, for the Giants, it started out with fireworks, and then to not be able to punch it in from the 2-yard line. You had a 3rd and 2, they didn't get it. The 4th and 2, obviously, they throw the fade route. So missed opportunities for the Giants, and for the Jets, more of the same. The quarterback position, turning the football over, can't make Rex Ryan very happy.
Hey, get a look at Curtis Painter, the former Indianapolis Colt, in for the Giants. Painter can't find Jernigan. Wilson on the coverage. Curtis Painter, in his 4th year out of Purdue, was in camp with Baltimore last year, did not play. Spent a couple of years with the Indianapolis Colts. He's in a battle with David Carr for the backup quarterback job. The Giants also expected to play Ryan Nassib in this game. Offensive line, Giants have Selvish Capers at the left tackle spot. Brandon Mosley is the left guard. Jim Cordell in at center for the Giants. Get a look at David Carr, who will not play tonight. James Brewer in at right guard. Andre Brown, little misdirection run, picks up a couple. 3 yards to the 33. Dewan Landry on the tackle. Justin Pugh remains in at the right tackle spot. He started the game tonight for the Giants.
You know, it's so interesting what I just saw from Andre Brown, and he's compensating for Cordell's lack of power. Cordell gets pushed back, but then his second surge pushes the defender with his momentum, and you could see Brown cut right off of that, which, you know, they may have to do that, make a little bit of, the backs will have to compensate just a little bit, but it could still be effective.
Jets have a lot of their starting defense still in the game, including the safeties Allen and Landry. Painter awaits the snap. Get a whistle and a false start against the Giants.
False start, number 72, offense.
Justin Pugh, the first-round draft pick out of Syracuse, called for the false start. 5th Giants penalty of the game for 38 yards. Last year, Andre Brown, 385 yards rushing. David Wilson, 353. Ahmad Bradshaw ran for over 1,000 yards last year. Bradshaw now with the Colts. Big shoes to fill, but both of these guys can give the Giants an added dimension in the passing game. 3rd and 12. Painter under pressure, and he's going to get sacked. Jay Douzable
How do you get sacked on a screen pass? I think they were trying to set up a screen pass there, and you know, you got to have that internal clock if you're Curtis Painter and just get rid of the ball.
Second sack by the Jets tonight.
You got both backs to one side. Looks like they're setting it up. Just eats the ball. Oh, he's down the field with it.
Capers did not get much of a block. Weatherford to punt. Curley on the receiving end from zone 40. Hit by Will Hill and dropped by Hill and Diassi after a 3-yard return. 44-yard punt. Geno Smith ready to go back to work. Well, tomorrow Sunday Night Football will be in San Francisco. How about Colin Kaepernick heading into his 3rd year, nearly led the Niners to a Super Bowl win, and Adrian Peterson and the Vikings. Sunday Night Football tomorrow, 8 Eastern, only on NBC. And they add a passing game to Peterson's running with Christian Ponder in Minnesota. Geno Smith picked off 3 times in the first half with a touchdown. We'll start the 3rd. Handoff, Bilal Powell runs right out of a Rodgers tackle, but not out of a tackle.
Shaun Rodgers
Jermaine McBride
is a big man, but he is so athletic. Look at him. He pushes his blocker back. You'll see him come in the backfield there. He's off his blocker and making contact with the back 5 yards in the backfield.
Loss of 7 on the play. The Jets had their starting offensive line in the game with Austin Howard, Nick Mangold at center.
He's a man who can make a difference for these linebackers too now.
2nd and 17 for Smith and the Jets. Ivory the tailback. Smith to throw. Has time, fastball over the middle, and he completes it to the Giant 40-yard line. Ben Obamanu with the catch and a 1st down.
Yeah, Tyler Sash is sitting back there at safety. That ball stayed up there, and Geno stared it down. The safety's got to get a better break on that.
Gain of 24. Clean pocket, zipped it in there right in front of Sash. So 1st and 10 at the Giants 40-yard line here in the first possession of the 3rd quarter for the Jets offense. Stephen Hill split to the bottom of your screen. Curley to the top. Ivory the tailback. Smith to throw. And that is caught by Winslow at the Giants 23-yard line.
It's in, you know, you've got to acknowledge the good play there by Geno Smith, but if you look at Shaun Rodgers again, he's right in the quarterback's lap. You take a look. Look at Shaun Rodgers here.
That's on the rookie 3rd-round pick, Brian Winters out of Kent State.
And there's a good pass and good catch on the Jet side of things.
And Kellen Winslow, 4 catches, 34 yards. Gain of 16. Bilal Powell on the direct snap. And he rambles his way to the Giants' 18-yard line. Tackle made by Mark Herzlich after a gain of 6.
That's a little bit of a wildcat there. Giants are going to see a few times this year.
So it'll be 2nd and 4 for the Jets at the 18-yard line.
It's got to be a bit of a confidence builder here for Geno Smith to complete a few without looking up at the lights after a throw and leading a drive.
Smith underneath. Obamanu with the catch inside the Giants 10 to the 8-yard line. Gain of 10 on the play. For more on Geno Smith, we check in with Sean O'Hara.
You know, I tell you guys, Geno Smith does not look like a rookie in terms of composure, in and out of the huddle, getting the play call. But one thing they're doing here tonight that's interesting, they're using the silent count. Now, it's not that loud out here tonight, being a preseason game and all, but they're using the silent count and the shotgun as well as underneath. So that's something that you also have to think about that he has to deal with, even under center, you know, not having that hard snap cadence that he can use.
1st and goal at the 8. Ivory tackled by Bosworth at the 3. Gain of 5. Kyle Bosworth grabbed him around the waist and stopped the touchdown. Chris Ivory played in just 6 games last year with New Orleans. Had 700 yards rushing in 2010.
Came right off tackle there and really broke that one in.
Very proficient with yards after contact is Chris Ivory. Now Powell back in the game. 2nd and goal at the 2. And a little wildcat. Powell's going to keep it. Pounds off the right side and in for the touchdown. Bilal Powell puts the Jets in front.
Impressive drive there by the Jets and Geno. Now, I don't even know if the Giants even knew Bilal Powell was in at quarterback there or back there running that play. No adjustment was made whatsoever.
7 plays, 57 yards. Powell on the touchdown run.
Got your linebackers there not really playing the right side of the block. Both guys caught on the inside and runner goes to the out.
And rookie Brian Winters made a nice block there to help finish it off for Powell. Extra point is good by Cundiff. Smith 3 for 3 on that drive for 50 yards, and Bilal Powell runs it in with 8:52 to go in the 3rd. Jets with their first lead of the night, 14-10. Bilal Powell from the Wildcat runs it in, and the Jets have their first lead of the night. Nick Folk to kick it off, Ron Scott to return it. Scott gobbled up, nowhere to go. Tackle made by Rontez Miles of the Jets. Giants back on offense, down by 4. In honor of this special season at MetLife Stadium, the MetLife Foundation is doing even more than previous years. In addition to a combined $50,000 that will be contributed tonight to team charities this entire week, MetLife has been giving an additional $25 to each team's charity every time a fan has tweeted the hashtag Road to MetLife Stadium. Thanks to the fans who have raised an additional $25,000. Good job by the fans this evening. 1st and 10 Giants from their own 14-yard line. Ryan Terrain in at tailback. Terrain with room out across the 20, the 22-yard line. Nice block by Bear Pascal. Gain of 8 on the play. Ryan Terrain, his 5th year out of Arizona State, signed as a free agent last year. Former 5th-round pick of the Denver Broncos.
He lowers the boom there on the safety. That's good, powerful running there. Terrain, no stranger to contact.
Josh Bush of the Jets took the hit. 2nd and 2 for Painter and the Giants. And it's the preseason, so the wave is going on here at MetLife Stadium. Terrain again. Can't find room. He's about a yard short of the first down.
You know, there's a resurgence of all things 80s, and the wave was very big in this stadium in the 80s.
Ricky Sapp on the tackle. You remember that, huh?
Oh yeah, kids of parents now are doing the wave. New generation wave.
3rd and 1 for the Giants. Giants 1 for 9 on 3rd down conversions, including a 3rd and goal at the 2 and a 4th and goal at the 2 failure. Painter out of the gun. Little slant. He's got a first down out to the 40-yard line to Julian Talley. Free agent out of UMass. Darren Wall's on the coverage. Gain of 16 and a first down Giants.
Good timing route there. Painter getting the ball out of his hands on time. Good route run. Some of the things Painter will have to do if he expects to be the number 2 on this roster.
With Cruz out, with Ramses Barden out with a knee injury. Some opportunities for young receivers. Terrain blasts his way up the middle and picks up a couple on the play. Nick Bellore picked the brunt of that from Ryan Terrain.
Yeah, Terrain is a go-forward back. That means when he makes contact, he goes forward, you go back. Very seldom do you see him, he gets his pads underneath himself. Very seldom does he get knocked backward once he gets a head of steam going.
2nd and 7 from the Giants' 42-yard line with 6:08 to go here in the 3rd.
pressure. Painter finds the hot Jernigan. Jernigan flipped forward, but he's near the first down. And it looks like he has the yard to gain. First down, Giants.
Another good job there by Painter and also Drill Jernigan. Seeing the blitz come, knowing what the read should be, and executing the play. Blitz coming right in the quarterback's face. He throws it. Jernigan runs a hot out route.
Giants go with a 2 tight end set with Robinson and Donnell. Terrain in a 1-back set. 1st and 10 from the 49. Short set, Painter over the middle, and there is Donnell, and he's got a first down to the Jets' 36-yard line. Gain of 15 and a first down, Giants.
Curtis Painter seems to have command of this offense now, making the right reads, pulled it down, waited for the window to open. You'll see him pull it down here. The window opens for his tight end. He throws it right through it.
Donnell, former 7th-round pick of the Steelers last year on the Giants practice squad, has shown some signs. He and Robinson are athletic, but they've got to be more consistent to contribute. Jets with a 4-man front. Terrain off the right side, picks up a couple. Isaiah Trufant came in to make the initial hit. Time now for our Dunkin' Donuts player interview with Bruce Beck.
Prince Amukamara, a 1st-round pick back in 2011, and really started to come into his own. An interception tonight. What about this preseason? What's been different for you?
I've been staying dry. I'm kidding. It's been a great preseason. I mean, just with the chemistry that the defense is building, and I'm just carrying over my confidence from last year.
And you're finally healthy. How important is that?
That's huge. I mean, one of my goals is to play all 20 games, and if there's 4 more games after, then my goal is to play all those too. But I think the more I'm consistent, that means I give the defense a better chance to be successful.
Your pick tonight. Tell us about it.
We were coach made a great call. Gino's been staring down his receivers the whole game, and I just made a play on it. Took it from the wide receiver.
Playing against Nix and Cruz in practice every day, has that made you a better player?
It's huge. I mean, you get the best of both worlds. Keem is a tall and big play receiver, and Cruz is a short, very shaky receiver. So it definitely gets us prepared for whoever we have week in, week out.
Last year, you went up against Antonio Brown. You went up against Miles Austin. Did that give you confidence being able to stick with those guys?
For sure, especially and Antonio Brown. He's a great wide receiver. Like I said, he kind of going up against Cruz helped me with that, and Miles Austin, a big receiver, going up against Hakeem helped me with that too.
The Prince hopes to be king this year for that Giants defense, which is banged up. Good luck, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Back upstairs to Bob and Carl.
All right, you see Prince kind of coming into his own. Meanwhile, Painter leading a pretty good drive here. Julian Talley with a nice catch. 10th play of the drive coming up, 2nd and 12.
I don't know if you caught it, but he said he wants to stay healthy for all 20 games. So he's looking beyond the regular season.
Well, either that or was he talking about the 4 preseason games in the regular season?
Well,
just asking.
Yeah, well, if you look at it that way, I guess.
Jernigan with the catch, 3 yards short of a first down. Good drive by Curtis Painter.
He is doing a good job commanding this offense.
Terrain has given them a nice physical component to the run on this drive as well. 3rd and 3 at the Jets 15. Jernigan is slot left. Collins split to the bottom of your screen. Painter over the middle and incomplete and nearly intercepted off the tip ball to Jernigan. Bush nearly had the pick.
Yeah, now this is the area where quarterback, you don't want those mistakes to turn into interceptions. That was nearly one of them.
I think Jernigan wasn't ready for it.
I think Jernigan had little alligator arms there. Let's take a look here. He's looking right at the quarterback. He's got to commit to that. Your receiver going across the middle, commit. The rules are in your favor anyway.
Josh Brown to try a 33-yard field goal. He's got one miss tonight from 53. Snap is clean. And Josh Brown drills that one. So with 2:03 to go in the 3rd, Giants pulled to within 1 on the Brown field goal. Jets 14, Giants 13. Great look at the Chrysler Building on this Saturday night in August. Third preseason game, Giants and Jets. Giants preseason football on NBC4 New York, fueled by S. Josh Brown to kick it off. Rookie free agent Mike Edwards is back deep out of Hawaii. Edwards will run it out from 2 yards deep. Edwards with some room and then gets tripped up. Ball came out, but Edwards fell right on top of it at the 23-yard line. So it'll be Jets football with 1:56 to go in the third quarter. Jets in front, 14-13. Tomorrow morning, the Formula One World Championship continues on the NBC Sports Network with one of the most intense races on the F1 calendar. Belgian Grand Prix, live tomorrow morning, 7:30 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network. Geno Smith remains in the game for Rex Ryan and the Jets. He's gone the distance. And Rex, when we spoke with him on Thursday, said we want to create equal opportunities for both he and Mark before we make any decisions. Chris Ivory with room up the middle, out to the 33-yard line, gain of 9. Time for the sideline report with Bruce Beck, brought to you by New York Lottery.
Muhammad Wilkerson, what a year he had a year ago with 90 tackles, 33 quarterback hurries, and 5 sacks. What are you going to do for an encore from your defensive end position?
Just keep improving and taking all the coaching out that I get in the meeting room and take it out on the field.
Rex was very complimentary about your play last year. Do you take that very nicely, or do you say, I just want to be better?
I definitely got to be better. Like I said, I take all the coaching I can out from the meetings onto the field and elevate my game. That's how I do it.
Rex also said you guys could be a top 5 defense in the league. Your thoughts?
I think we can. As long as we, communicate out there on the field, don't have too many mistakes, we could be number 1.
Dennis Thurman is your new defensive coordinator, although he's been with your team for a number of years. Have things been different with him in control back there?
Nothing has been different. We watched film of him when he was a player, so we just try to bring that physicalness that he did back in his day and do it out there now on the field.
What is it like for a local guy to play for the Jets? You're a Linden Tiger back then in the old days.
It's great. I'm glad to be here at home and part of the Jets organization.
And by the way, Bob and Carl, he won 2 state titles in basketball. Pretty good hoopster, too.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Muhammad. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
All right, back upstairs.
Yeah, he could ball. Geno Smith over the middle. Stephen Hill, he's got a first down to the 35-yard line. Gain of 5 on the play. Tremaine McBride on the coverage on the previous run play. Now some flags fly as the Giants got involved with Stephen Hill.
Let's see who that's on.
After the play was over, personal foul, number 84 of the offense. The down will count.
Negates your
It will
first
be
down.
first down. 15-yard penalty
Good move
from
by
the
the
end of the run.
receiver there.
First and
Got
10
it, they're
Jets.
counting on
That's
also.
a 15-yard penalty.
Can't do that. That's just dumb. He's a guy that's going to be playing for them as one of their starting wide receivers. Killing a drive.
So it was a first down because he made the yard to gain, and then that was a post-play foul on Charles James. So they marked the 15 yards off. So it'll be first and 10 for the Jets, and that'll be the way the third quarter ends. A Bilal Powell touchdown run has put the Jets in front. Geno Smith's gone the whole way for New York. Back at MetLife Stadium, and the Jets have the ball at their own 20-yard line. See the Brickishaw, Ferguson, Nick Mangold still in the game. Willie Colon, the right guard, still in. Trying to give Geno Smith as many opportunities as they can. Vlad Ducasse left the game in the first half, so rookie Brian Winters at left guard. Chris Ivory on the carry. On first and 10, takes it out to the 25-yard line and picks up 5 on the play for the Jets.
And I think the Jets also want to try to establish their run game, too. Their backs have kind of failed to establish who's going to be their kind of bell cow, if you will. So they want to get as much work with this offensive line and these running backs so that they can know going into week 1 what they have also.
Giants have Marvin Austin in at one of the defensive tackles with Jonathan Hankins. Plateau and Broha the ends. Geno Smith zips it right. Stephen Hill fumbled it, recovered by Sash at the 42. And for the Jets, their 4th turnover. Terrence Frederick stripped it after the catch was made.
Not going to be a good deal for him in the team meeting room. You kill one drive and then you lose the ball on another one.
Tyler Sash with the recovery, so the Jets have turned it over for the 4th time tonight, and the Giants will start in Jets territory with 14-16 to go in the ball game. Curtis Painter remains in at quarterback.
Let's see if the Giants can finally convert off of a turnover or convert into a touchdown off of a turnover anyway.
Only 3 points out of the 3 previous turnovers. Terrain, the tailback, behind quarterback Curtis Painter. 1st and 10 at the Jets' 42. Play clock down to 6. Terrain on the handoff. Makes a nice little cut in the hole and takes it to the 38-yard line and picks up 4 on the play. Ricky Sapp on the tackle. The out-of-town scores brought to you by Geico in week 3 of the preseason. Washington got a good performance from Rex Grossman. They handled Buffalo tonight in our nation's capital. Miami, the lead over Tampa in the 3rd. The Jets will open up here at MetLife Stadium for their regular season opener against the Bucs. Jacksonville leads Philadelphia 17-16. Cowboys in front of Cincinnati at the half. Giants open up in Dallas on the 8th of September here on NBC for New York. 2nd and 6 at the Jets' 38. Painter, 3-step drop. Painter looking for his receiver, and it's Jernigan, and it's incomplete. Covered by Darren Walls of the Jets.
Well, Jernigan's getting his opportunities to make an impression. He's had a few good plays, and he had some questionable ones. Let's see if this is a catchable.
Well, that's that back shoulder throw, Carl.
Yeah, got to make that play. Catch it with your hands. He's getting valuable reps here anyway.
3rd and 6 at the Jets' 38-yard line. Painter from the gun has time. He threw a go route. Talley ran an out route. And that falls incomplete.
Once again, the Giants failed to convert a turnover into points. It's got to be a point of emphasis. You're going to have a defense that can get you the ball back. Got to turn those in. Can't keep close games.
So Weatherford into punt, which feels like for about the 100th time tonight, Carl.
He's gotten a lot of work.
It's his 6th punt. Feels like more. Kyle Wilson back deep for the Jets. Weatherford with that reverse spin. Wilson watches it bound at the 5, and the Giants down it at the 2. Will Hill down there on the punt coverage. 36-yard punt, no return for the former Jet. Now Giant Steve Weatherford here in the 4th. Jets by 1. Jets lead the Giants 14-13 here in the 4th. Now it's time for the Toyota drive of the game. And it was all driven by one guy, David Wilson. First offensive snap, 84 yards. For the Giants' lone touchdown of the night. The Toyota drive of the game. David Wilson and Andre Brown will share the load at running back. Obviously some concern for the Giants. Carl Banks with the injury to Jaron Hosley, his ankle in the 1st quarter, and then Stevie Brown off the interception.
That depletes your depth that you walked into the game with.
Jets from their own 5. Ivory, the tailback. Ivory nearly caught for a safety, and what a job by Ivory to avoid the safety. Tackled at the 1. Bosworth got the first hit on him.
Yeah, it really was. It's a great job by Bosworth there defeating the blocker. You'll see him come in, defeat the blocker there, gets the arm out. Jaquan Williams has got to finish the deal there and get those points. Get your pads down, knock them back.
Kyle Bosworth, 4th-year player of UCLA. He's played for Jacksonville last year, started 5 of 16, the nephew of Brian Bosworth. Bohannon the setback. Smith runs out of the back of the end zone, and that's a safety. He did not understand the 10-yard real estate, and the safety, Mark Herzlich, got the pressure, and the Giants have the lead.
Another first for the young quarterback there, not understanding. Okay, here I got to stay in bounds here. You see him there, he sees the pressure, loses his sense of where he was, full step out of bounds, out of the end zone.
And Carl, he's thrown 3 picks. This
will be his 4th turnover here.
Right there, stepping out of bounds with the ball in his hand. That's a safety before he could throw it away. So 3 interceptions for Geno Smith and a safety. He talks with Marty Morningwig, the offensive coordinator. And now the Giants will get the ball, and they have the lead 15-14.
All teachable moments for the young quarterback. I don't think there's anything that will lead you to believe that some of the things he's done today, or all of them, aren't correctable. It's reading blitzes, knowing where your safeties are, not staring down receivers, sense of awareness, field position, your feet are in the end zone, taking the snap. When in doubt, throw it away as soon as you get it. Just don't take the safety.
You wonder what Rex is thinking. You know, they got 2 weeks from tomorrow. Tampa's in this building for the season opener. Will it be Mark Sanchez? Will it be Geno Smith?
He's thinking, I got a rookie quarterback who's now getting his baptism in fire, and he's got a guy, Mark Sanchez, who he's probably going to have to start.
Robert Malone with the free kick. Charles James from the 26. Charles James runs out of a tackle. Charles James out to midfield. 24-yard return off the free kick. Mike Edwards on the tackle with 12-11 to go in the ball game, and Tom Coughlin's Giants up 15-14. A kickoff weekend Thursday night, September the 5th. The defending Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens travel to Denver. Playoff rematch of the divisional showdown in Denver, the Mile High City. Football night in America. Bob Costas and the entire crew, and Keith Urban will be performing in downtown Baltimore Thursday, September the 5th, here on NBC4 New York. I got chills just thinking about the season starting, Carl. What a matchup that'll be. Painter on a 1st and 10, tipped at the line, incomplete, intended for Donnell. Leger Duzable tipped it at the line. Giants have shuffled their offensive line in front of quarterback Curtis Painter. They've moved James Brewer over to the right tackle spot as we take a look at the tip pass again.
Threw that one a little low, too.
Troy Davis actually the one that tipped it, not Duzable. It was an 8, but it was a 5, not a 7. Second and 10 at the Jets 49. Giants are trying to add some points here. Darrell Scott on the carry gets a yard, and a flag on the play in the vicinity of holding.
Yeah, flag on the backside of that play, too.
Holding, number 62, offense.
Left tackle is Selvish Capers. The left guard is Eric Herman. He's a rookie out of Ohio.
I think they called it on Herman there. Darrell Scott's another guy who has to make an impression. I mean, he hasn't. Take a look at this and see the backside of it. Here's your guard right there. He tackles his guy.
Stephen Gooden is the center. So 2nd and 20 for the Giants from their own 41. 3 receivers set. Painter out of the gun. Scott to his right. Jets bring pressure up the middle. Screen for Scott, and again, not well executed. Ballore on the pressure right up the middle for the Jets.
Well, Painter hits his guard in the side of the helmet with that ball. I mean, this has got to be a project ongoing for the Giants. Perfecting the screen pass. That operation is flawed.
Check in with Sean O'Hara.
Hey guys, you know, one of the things that's tough about these preseason games is when you game plan during the week, you say, okay, on 3rd and long, 2nd and long, here are the linebackers we're going to treat as rushers. Here are the other linebackers we're going to think of as droppers. Well, when we start getting the 2nd and 3rd defensive guys out there, those numbers go out the window. So you're seeing a lot of guys coming free here this quarter for Curtis Painter, for this offensive line, to really get on the same page. It makes it even tougher with those different numbers.
And Troy Davis out of Queens, New York, with the pressure on Painter. Played his high school ball in the state of Georgia. You see number 58 right around Darrell Scott. Painter took a hit. So the Giants will punt once again. Weatherford. Weatherford's last punt, which was down by Will Hill, was a direct setup for the Giants getting the safety and the lead. Weatherford gets the ball away. Zach Rogers to field it and lets it go over his head for a touchback. Good play by Rogers, the rookie free agent out of Tennessee. 59-yard punt, 39-yard net. Giants in front by 1. Looking forward to Thursday night. Mark Sanchez during the timeout to warm up, and they threw 2 at him. So poor Mark, trying to win the starting job for the Jets, looking for a little help. He got too much. Mark Sanchez, 33-29, as a starting quarterback for the Jets. Takes over from his own 20. He'll throw. He'll get sacked by Marvin Austin. Forward progress spotted at the 10. Loss of 10 on the play. So Marvin Austin, who's in a show-me year, 3rd year out of North Carolina, gets the sack of Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, good job by Austin there, and Sanchez goes down on his first snap. Not a good start for him after watching Geno Smith have his struggles.
First sack of the night for the Giants, but they got good pressure throughout the course of the night. Sanchez out of the gun on a 2nd and 20. Over the middle, completes it to the 15-yard line. That's Joseph Collins, a first-year player out of Weber State. Did not play last year in the league. Was in camp in the CFL. That's a gain of 6. It'll be 3rd and 14. Geno Smith, 16 of 30, 199 yards, a touchdown, 3 picks, and a safety. Khalil Bell, the tailback, on this 3rd and 14 for Sanchez and the Jets. Good protection for Sanchez. Sanchez over the middle and wide open at the 35-yard line. And first down to Ryan Spadola, the rookie out of Lehigh from Freehold Township High School in New Jersey. Born in Howell, New Jersey. Gain of 18 and a first down, Jets.
A well-designed play by Marty Morningwig here. Just a delayed in cut. Basically getting your linebackers to focus on something, basically the quarterback, and not seeing anything coming across.
1st and 10 from the 34. Sanchez throws the slant, completes the slant over the middle to the 47-yard line. And that's Muhammad Massaquoi, who was signed just the other day. Gain of 13 on the play. So after Sanchez was sacked on his first snap, he started to move his team, wiggled out of a 3rd and 14. Sanchez 6 and 9 last year as a starting quarterback in his 15 starts.
Young man's been sacked a lot, hit hard too.
18 interceptions last year. Little screen, and that time Jonathan Hankins was in the way to the sideline, and Bruce back.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. I'm with Chris Snee, the 4-time Pro Bowler. Different line tonight with Cordell in there, Boss out, Deal out, Pugh in. How did you guys do?
Well, definitely room for improvement, and that's what preseason's all about. So, I mean, a lot of shuffling. You know, I think Justin played well. I mean, they threw a lot of stuff at us. I mean, communication-wise, you know, we got to get all this stuff ironed out before the season starts.
To see David Wilson, who Carl calls Turbo, explode in that big run, what do you think that'll do for his confidence?
Hopefully a lot, you know. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was down on the ground. I looked up, and he was already in the end zone, so it made a nice trot over here to the sideline for me, not being on field goal. But, yeah, I mean, dynamic player, explosive player, and that's the stuff we need out of him.
Chris, could this offense be explosive this year with Nix and Cruz and Wilson and Eli leading the charge?
I hope so. That's the plan. And, you know, we just have to get things right. We need to be all on the same page, and that wasn't the case tonight. We need to do a better job.
3rd week of the preseason, just one more test to go, and I don't even know if you're going to be in there for that. Right. What's your outlook for this team?
Well, I mean, you know, we're excited about the season, but we need to get out a couple more kinks, and hopefully we'll do that next week.
All right, Chris, good luck. Thank you. All right, Bob, back upstairs.
All right, a 5th turnover by the Jets. Sanchez does not handle the low snap. Mark Herzlich recovers it.
Was that snap early?
Well, there's David Deal. He's hoping to get back. Sanchez is hoping to keep his starting job. Rex Ponders. Now Mark Sanchez looking at the Polaroids as he turns it over in his first possession. Caleb Slaughterhoff with the snap.
Right in his hands. I mean, now you can see where Jet fans have real cause for concern. He's been in the league way too long to allow these types of things to continue to bedevil him.
Actually, that was Steven Peterman who was in with the snap. And 5th turnover for the Jets. This is the 5th time tonight the Giants are starting in Jets territory. And they only have 15 points on the scoreboard.
3 points off of turnovers.
Painter. Donnell incomplete. Tipped. And incomplete. We'll take a look at Mark Sanchez. 3 of 4 for 36 yards and a fumble. Geno Smith. 11 of 25. 134 yards. 1 touchdown. 3 interceptions. Plus he ran out of the back of the end zone and committed a safety that gave the Giants the lead. Curtis Painter has thrown 7 consecutive incomplete passes.
Yeah, back to talk a little bit more about Sanchez. It's hard for him to win the confidence of his coaches and teammates. You know, he's played in some pretty big games in his short career, but you know, you go from butt fumble to a shotgun snap that hits you right in the hands, and it's a turnover. I mean, you got to be better. He's got to take more control of the offense when he's in there and have a heightened sense of awareness every single down.
Especially since right now he's going against some guys that probably aren't even going to make the Giants.
Yeah.
Giants with a 3rd and 11 at the Jets 40. Painter completes it to Collins, but he's short of the first down. Collins will also serve a suspension when the season starts, and he had a promising start to camp. Now, Giants head coach Tom Coughlin is going to send out Josh Brown, who missed a 53-yarder in the first half. Negligible wind here at MetLife Stadium on a Saturday in August. It will be a little different if you tried this in December. This will be a 50-yarder from the right hash for Josh Brown.
Yeah, another great opportunity to work on something that you don't get in practice, a full-speed rush.
Steve Weatherford to hold. Snap is clean. Kick on its way. There's a half the distance. It is good. So Josh Brown hits from 50, and the Giants push their lead to 4 with 6:32 to go in the ballgame. Stadium, Giants in front of the Jets, 18-14. Time now for the Verizon call of the game. David Wilson on the carry. Wilson with speed. Wilson to the outside. He could go all the way. David Wilson to the 20. David Wilson will score. Touchdown Giants, 84 yards. And the call of the game brought to you by NFL Mobile from Verizon. That's powerful. Banksy, we love that NFL Mobile, don't we?
We do. It keeps us in touch at all times.
Especially on the road. Get that Sunday night football as you're heading to the team plane. Always very, very useful. That kick goes for a touchback. David Wilson, part of the call of the game. The Giants are hoping that you can do a lot more of that this season. Well, tomorrow night here on NBC4 New York, it's mic'd up with Bruce Beck. He'll be joined by NFL Network's Kim Jones to recap tonight's game. Plus, the Yanks continue their wild card chase. It's mic'd up immediately following News 4 New York. Mark Sanchez in for his second series, and the Jets will start at their own 20-yard line, trailing by 4 with 6:32 to go in the game. Sanchez takes a knee-high snap. He's under pressure from Bosworth. Gets it away to Khalil Bell. Bell up the sideline. He's got a first down. Run out of bounds by David Caldwell after a gain of 13. Sanchez took a shot, but he will get the football away and get a positive play for the Jets.
Sanchez under duress. There's a blitz. He steps away from it. Still takes the hit. Delivers the football, and that's what's important, getting the ball out of his hands and into the receiver so he didn't pay for it.
1st and 10. Sanchez under pressure. Sanchez avoids the pressure and throws it to Massaquoi for a first down.
And he's down. Sanchez is down.
Sanchez took a shot from behind. It was, I think, Marvin Austin that got him, and Sanchez in a lot of pain. Jet medical staff out to tend to him. Grabbing at that right shoulder.
Porous offensive line he's in playing with, and they were all over him. You got to look at Matt Sims as your guy who has run his offense relatively well.
Sanchez is up. Kind of clutching his side right now. We're going to take a look at the hit on Sanchez.
He's got a lot of guys in pursuit here.
Marvin Austin hit him from the front as Hankins grabbed him around the ankles. So Matt Sims will come in as Sanchez takes the big shot. Got the completion to Massaquoi to the Giant 44.
He's hanging in there.
He's got to come out for a play. He's trying to warm up on the sideline, talking with the team doctor. Matt Sims, 5 of 5 in the preseason for 73 yards. Son of Phil Sims by way of Don Bosco Prep. Hands off to Khalil Bell, and he picks up the yard, and that's it with 5:33 to go.
You know what gets lost in all of this quarterback controversy and the comparisons from last week is Matt Sims went in there and he ran that offense better than both of those guys last week, but he wasn't in the conversation. But you know, it's worth noting this young man can play football. He can play the position of quarterback. And he's got it on film, so some team will see it if the Jets don't have room for him.
Signed as a free agent last year. Sims back to throw. Sims over the middle, and the receiver was not looking. That was Michael Campbell from Edison, New Jersey, by way of Temple.
If I'm Mark Sanchez, I wouldn't want to go back in the game. He's not going to win or lose the job in 5 minutes here. He can only hurt himself by going in there. It seemed like he was upset when the doctors told him he couldn't go back in. You know, tough it out.
So Sims will face a 3rd and 9 at the Giants 43. Out of the shotgun, feels pressure, and that pass incomplete as he took a hit from Bosworth and Ajomo, and the Jets will send out the punting unit. And there you see the medical staff looking at Mark Sanchez, and he took a couple hits on the last 2 throws that he had. That one from Bosworth, and then Marvin Austin.
Big shot on him there, throwing arm.
Robert Moore in the punt. Robert Malone in the punt. Reverse spin. Charles James, a fair catch at the 13-yard line. 4:46 to go in the game. 30-yard punt to the sideline, and Bruce Beck.
Well, Mark Sanchez is done for the night. He took his jersey off. He tried to throw a couple of passes, and after throwing just 2, he looked at the team doctors and said, I can't do this. They're now going to ice his right shoulder, and Sanchez not happy in any regard right now, guys.
Well, the plot thickens now for the Jets in their quarterback decision. As Rex Ryan told us when we spoke with him this week, it was still wide open. Wanted to give Geno Smith fair chances, fair reps, and it almost got the sense that it was going to go right through the last preseason game. Maybe things have now changed with that hit on Sanchez. Painter remains in at quarterback. Michael Cox on the handoff, nowhere to go. He's going to lose a yard. Duzable on the tackle.
Well, one thing has to kick into gear if they're counting on Geno Smith for opening day in the event that Sanchez isn't healthy, is Marty Morningwig will have to be as creative as possible and keep, giving him manageable passes, and they've got to get the running game going until this young man's up to speed. They got to avoid those long yardage plays where the quarterback will have to make some decisions versus coverage and blitz.
2nd and 11. Michael Cox can't get to the outside. Nice play in the open field by Isaiah Trufant. And that'll be a loss of another yard as we check in with Sean O'Hara.
You know, guys, we're talking about the Jets quarterback situation, and obviously they gave Geno Smith the opportunity to try to win that job. But really, when you look at the Jets quarterback situation as a whole, if Sanchez ended up being the starter, now you've got a rookie in your backup quarterback that didn't have a lot of reps, so it made sense to me. But if Sanchez ends up being hurt now and you're forced to start Geno Smith, I mean, now you're scratching your head saying, what do we do now if something happens to Geno? They're basically stuck with Greg McElroy.
Or maybe Matt Sims.
Yeah. Wonder if they play Geno Smith now in this final preseason game.
Curtis Painter gets sacked back at the 2-yard line, so the Jets continue to put pressure as Mark Sanchez heads to the locker room.
Bob, let me ask you, do you think it was a mistake to put Mark Sanchez in with the backup offensive line?
Well, they're trying to get him. They're trying to get him some reps.
Well, I think they know pretty much what he could do. It's almost a dangerous proposition when you put him in there and you got a porous line.
Weatherford just gets it away, and it goes out of bounds at about the 35-yard line with 2:56 to go in the ballgame. So the Jets will have great field position down 4 after a 35-yard punt. Kavita Finu got that last sack on Painter, by the way, for Rex Ryan's Jets.
See if they can get in contention for the Snoopy Trophy.
Hey, Giants fans, be sure to tune into MSG Network this preseason and all season long. Weekly lineup of Giants programming and the premiere of Giants First and 10, plus Giants Chronicles, Giants Rewind, and then My 9 all season long into the lives of players on and off the field with Giants Access Blue, and then the Giants postgame live immediately following games this season. 1st and 10 at the Giants 37 for Matt Sims. Those downfield intended for Spadola, overthrown incomplete. Carl, the other thing too, when you talk about the Jets and the Giants and the players that are on the field and guys that are playing in these final minutes of this 3rd preseason game, there's a cut down date that's coming. Then you got to get down to your 53 next week. And for some of the guys, it's a numbers game based on depth at a position. But right now, there's a lot of guys out there that are playing for a job on another team.
Yeah, they got to get on film so that teams that may have needs that the Jets don't will take a close look at them.
Sims on a 2nd and 10. Matt under pressure. Checks it down to Rogers. Rogers with a first down to the 24-yard line. Gain of 13. Zach Rogers, a rookie out of Tennessee.
Good mobility there by Sims. A little more fleet of foot than his father was. I don't feel to contest that, but getting the ball out of his hands there and moving the chains.
Phil, the Giants' 1st-round draft pick in 1979 out of Morehead State. Super Bowl 21 MVP. Leo Bell on the draw. Gets hit hard and then bounces off Herzlich and picks up 2 or 3.
Herzlich came in there and made a big hit. Got to wrap up.
Aaron Curry comes in for the Giants.
Another high round draft choice who hoping to make a splash, but he's really not seeing much playing time here in this defense.
4th overall by Seattle in 2009. Sims to throw on 2nd and 8 to the end zone. Touchdown. Spadola.
What a bullet. That was a bullet.
And the Jets have the lead with 2:02 to go. No one's ever questioned the arm strength of Matt Sims, and he flashed it there.
Well, you talk about accurate too now. Look at that ball. That's on a rope.
The score counts. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 5. That 15-yard penalty
Unsportsmanlike
will be assessed
conduct
on the kickoff.
on Matt Sims for the celebration.
You got to really be looking hard for that one. He was away from everyone when he did that. Let's see. Throws the ball. Touchdown.
His father had a gun too.
Yeah.
And his brother Chris had a gun.
Where's the excessive celebration? I don't see it.
Nick Folk on for the extra point. Puts the Jet lead to 3. Nice job by the holder, Robert Malone. 4 plays, 37 yards. And that was a jersey combination. Matt Sims from Franklin Lakes to Ryan Spadola from Howell, New Jersey.
There's the bullet.
Right over Aaron Curry's head. And Spadola wide open over the middle. Good protection here by the Jets front, giving Matt Sims a great passing lane and rifles it into the end zone.
Tall in the pocket. One thing his father always says, if you can play, somebody will find a way to get you an opportunity. And Matt Sims taking advantage of that. I don't see the excessive celebration. Maybe that was it.
Really? A good job by Matt Sims,
who may factor into the quarterback depth chart. Yeah.
Well, he's got a better arm than Greg McElroy, who's nursing an injury and did not play tonight.
McElroy is now going to be a guy who's saying, I may not make the club in the tub. Give me a chance next week.
Billy Cundiff to kick it off. So now the Giants trail by 3.
Snoopy just changed hands.
Snoopy just put on the green jersey now. Michael Cox from the goal line. Don't want to do that on a kickoff return. Go backward. Brett Lockett on the tackle for the Jets. 1:54 to go. Giants down by 3. Back at MetLife Stadium, Giants now down by 3. 1:54 to go. They'll start at their own 14-yard line. Painter to throw for Jernigan, incomplete. Trufant on the coverage. Tell you what, Carl, Sims got called for the excessive celebration. What an excellent kickoff by Cundiff, because they had to kick off from the 20-yard line, and great Jets coverage pinned the Giants inside their own 20.
Well, Cox was headed to the 20, and then he headed backwards, thinking he could reverse field.
2nd and 10 for Painter and the Giants, down by 3. 1:49 to go. Scott, the protector in the backfield with Painter. Middle for Jernigan. Jernigan to the 36-yard line. Gets tackled by Trufant. First down, Giants. Gain of 22. And the Giants will call a timeout. 2 remaining for the Giants. Welcome to the 3rd annual Giants blood drive at MetLife Stadium. Tomorrow, August the 25th. Space is limited. Go to redcrossblood.org for more details. Very good crowd on hand tonight here at MetLife Stadium for the Giants and Jets. Those who remain trying to exhort the Giants. Eli Manning a little frustrated tonight.
Yeah, that's some things they got to work on. Even Chris Snead says there's much improving to do before week 1 of the regular season.
Painter on a 1st and 10. Checks it down to Scott, who has speed. He turns to the outside and then tackled high by Lansana at the 40-yard line. Gets out of bounds. That stops the clock with 1:33 to go.
Good job there by Darrell Scott and catching the ball and getting positive yardage before heading out of bounds. A guy with a lot of speed didn't get a lot of reps though as a rookie, and then he got hurt.
Worked out with the Giants trainers before the game. He is a go. And obviously with Cox doing good things on special teams, Scott needs to show. 2nd and 5. Painter with plenty of time. Painter throws it behind his intended receiver, incomplete, intended for Collins. Adams, Royce Adams on the coverage.
What do you think Snoopy's thinking right now? He's got a green jersey on. He's got the hat on. Think he's going to head over on the Jets sideline, or will Painter?
I'll tell you one thing Snoopy is hoping for is that Tom Coughlin doesn't get down close and kick a field goal. 1:26 to go. Giants have 2 timeouts remaining. 3rd and 5 from their own 40, trailing by 3. Painter completes it for a first down. Julian Talley has it for the Giants.
Did he get out of bounds? No, he did not.
Clock continues to move. 1:14 remaining. 1st and 10 Giants. Jets 48. Painter again. Collins to the 40. Gets tackled there. Adams on the tackle. Tom Coughlin calls a timeout. He has 1 remaining with 1:02 to go. You know, the thing about this is Coughlin keeps coaching and trying to create scenarios and use this all as evaluation for coaches' tape. The other interesting thing is that for some of these guys on the field for both of these teams, this might be the last time they ever wear an NFL uniform.
Yeah, there's a big cut down coming tomorrow, isn't it?
Well, you got to cut down to get to the first number, and then the final 53 next week. But a lot of guys won't catch on with another team, and maybe they'll be in an off-season program for somebody next year, but they may never play in an NFL uniform again.
Yeah.
And that happens every year for every team across the National Football League.
Coach Coughlin would like to see them score before they get into the forbidden forest of the red zone.
2nd and 2, pass behind and high.
There'll be a penalty somewhere, holding or a late hit.
Roughing the passer on the Jets. Marcus Harris, the intended receiver. Painter got hit in the face mask. So that stops the clock with 58 seconds to go.
Take a look here.
Yep, that's the legitimate call. Troy Davis, the rookie out of Central Florida, called for the penalty.
Inadvertent, but it's still a penalty. They're just outside of the forbidden forest.
Did you ever play in a preseason overtime game?
I don't think so.
First and 10 at the Jets' 25-yard line. Giants down by 3. Can Painter get his team into the end zone? Painter to the far side, incomplete, intended for Collins. That stops the clock with 53 seconds to go. Now the final evaluations will take place on Thursday night as the Giants travel to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots here on NBC4 New York. The 3rd preseason game is the final dress rehearsal. The Patriots were walloped by Detroit. 7:30 Eastern. We'll find out what Bill Belichick decides to do with his regulars. That final preseason game. Giants and Patriots Thursday night, NBC4 New York. 2nd and 10 from the Jet 25. Painter to the sideline, and out of bounds gets Donnell at the 22-yard line. It's a gain of 3, but he did get out of bounds, so the Giants do not use that final timeout. 47 seconds to go.
I'm going to say they're going to go for it on 4th down if they don't get it.
You think so?
Yeah.
They did in the first half. I'm guessing they would do it here. What does Kelvin Gilbride have cooked up?
You know what? He's going to say we need the work. That's how he'll justify it. We need the work in these situations. So we'll see. It's 3rd and 7. Painter can get him close. Comes the blitz.
Play clock down to 3. Painter on the 3rd down. Has time, looking for Donnell, incomplete. Quez Smith. Because, wow, he's going to bring the field goal unit out.
It's field goal and onside kick, maybe?
Tom Coughlin is bringing out the field goal unit.
He's shaking his head like, I didn't want to do this, but it makes sense.
Wow.
Get comfortable in your seat.
So with 41 seconds to go, they're going to send out Josh Brown for a 40-yard field goal to tie the game.
It's the thing. It's what the chart says. And it is your only simulated regular season game of the preseason.
Snap is clean. Brown's kick is good.
Well, Snoopy just went back to the 50-yard line. He's in center field now.
So Tom Coughlin kicks the field goal with 37 seconds left. He wants more evaluation. Hey, listen, we talked with him today. And, you know, look, the rules are the rules, and you got to deal with it about how you can practice and how much actual hitting time you get, how much live time you can get under the new CBA. Padded practice is only X amount of days, and Rex told us and Tom told us the games are even more valuable. Look at Tom.
Yeah, kicked it and says, good job, man. That's what we had to do. He's saying to himself, I know they're going to be wearing me out, keeping these people here, but I had to do it. It's what would Tom Coughlin do in a regular season game?
Now listen, he's won 2 Super Bowls.
You know him. He's by the book guy, and he don't want to concede defeat.
So Josh Brown to kick off with 37 seconds to go. And he's going to drive this one to Edwards. Tell you what, his kickoffs have been outstanding. And that goes for a touchback with 37 seconds to go in the game.
Now the question is, does Marty Morningwig go for the gusto, or will he settle for overtime? Is he going to try to move his team down the field with Matt Sims? He takes a few shots. One big play to midfield, get them in position. He's got a chance for probably 3 plays here. They call him right. Sideline route. They got how many timeouts? 3 timeouts
3 timeouts.
left?
And you know what? This is great for the Jets and their evaluation of their personnel, including their quarterback, Matt Sims.
Giants run a blitz.
Pass batted at the line, incomplete. Mark Herzlich with the deflection. Quickly down to Bruce Beck.
Bob, I know a lot of people were thinking about getting home early, but I just talked to Jeff Fiegels, who played for Tom Coughlin for a number of years, one of the great all-time punters in the league. And he said Coughlin treats every game like the Super Bowl. Doesn't matter if it's preseason or not. And that's exactly what happened. He played for the field goal, and we could be headed to overtime.
32 seconds away from that, Matt Sims. From a shotgun on 2nd and 10. Giants bring pressure. They got a screen set up to Madu. Trateau couldn't get him to the ground, but then Broha and the rest of the Giants closed in. And that's a gain of 3. Now the Jets. Let's see, who called the timeout?
Matt Sims did.
Matt Sims called the timeout. 17 seconds to go. They put some time back on the clock, 25 seconds. Let's get Sean O'Hara's perspective. Sean?
Well, I'll tell you, it's 2 sides of the coin, guys. You know, for the players that know that they're going to make the team, you know, they just want to get home. But for those guys that know this cut down's coming on Tuesday down to 75, this might be the last time that they wear a New York Giants uniform. So, you know, it's a great opportunity for them, and I know that they were hoping they get some more reps. Yes. So I know that that's a mindset for both sides of the team, because listen, both of these teams, they're looking at those last few guys on the roster trying to say, who do we need to have on our team? Who can we not enter this season without?
Right, and you know what, too? There's more reps, and maybe somebody shows something in one of these last few plays for one of these 2 teams, whether it's the Jets or Giants, and maybe they don't make either of those teams, but they're signed somewhere else. Madu on the handoff. Trateau and Herzlich wrestle him to the ground at the 25-yard line.
He ran that draw. I guess they're going to concede overtime. I thought Marty Morningwig would take a few shots down the field.
Well, I think Tom Coughlin called it. I'm sure he called the timeout.
He had 1 left.
Jets, 30-second timeout.
Now will they have a punt rush on? What if they charge the timeout to?
Clock is stopped at 17. It was the Giants who called the timeout with 17 seconds to go. So now the Giants are out of timeouts.
So in this situation, you're going to rush the punt?
I'm just, you know what, Carl? I'm looking.
Catch it.
Hold on, I'm looking in the Giants media guide here. In 1985, the Giants beat the Jets in overtime in the preseason, 34-31. That was the year you had 5 preseason games because you played in the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
You remember? So you did play in a preseason overtime game.
So what do we come up here with?
Quigley to punt. Collins calls for a fair catch. It hit one of the Jets and comes to rest at the 36-yard line.
Drip goes the clock.
With 8 seconds to go.
Well, take a shot here. No timeouts. Not a good job on that punt return. You'd wasted about 4 seconds. The ball hit the ground. Got to get up there and fair catch that. Got to field that one. Coachable moment.
Now, I know in 1985, I'm sure when the game was in overtime, you weren't playing, but
it depends on what game that was.
What was this, Giants Jets 85 preseason?
Which number of a preseason was it?
That was game 4 or 5.
Yeah, we probably played a lot in that one.
So 8 seconds to go.
Max protection.
Here it is, Painter. Will heave one to Collins, who can't catch it at the 40. Had he caught that ball, he would have been out of bounds, and then the Giants could have tried like a 60-yard field.
They had the
58-yarder.
Defensive back falls down too. Look at this. D-back falls down, just catch it. What are you thinking about other than catching that one, young man?
So Brandon Collins, who was on the practice squad last year, could not make the catch. So we are 2 seconds away from OT. Snoopy taking off both jerseys. Painter is going to air it out deep down the middle of the field, looking for Collins. Knocked away, incomplete. And we are going to go to overtime. Darren Walls knocked it away.
Snoopy goes back to the podium. He's just cooling his heels now.
So we're going to have, you know what, folks? You're going to see a rarity. You're going to see a coin toss for overtime in a preseason game.
The regular season overtime rules come into play here, right?
Sure. It's overtime.
So if no one scores on their first drives, everybody gets a chance gets a chance to match a score, correct?
Weatherford's out working on his punts. Cundiff's working on his field goals. Herzlich, Kiwanuka, and Curley come out for the coin toss with John Parrott.
Gentlemen, we're going to play one period. 2 timeouts. Each team will have an opportunity to possess the football. Jets, what's your call? He's called tails. And it is ahead. You won the toss. Giants have won the toss in overtime, and they will receive. Good luck, man.
So the Giants will get the ball to start overtime. And that's the end of regulation from MetLife Stadium with the score tied at 21. Snoopy warming up that trophy. Back after this. Bonus football at MetLife Stadium. New York Giants preseason football on NBC4 New York, fueled by Hess. Giants and Jets tied at 21. Giants will get the ball to start overtime. Remember, you cannot win with a field goal on the first possession of overtime. Each team would get a possession if the receiving team drives it downfield and kicks a field goal. The kickoff is returned for a touchdown or a score. The game would be over. LaRon Scott trying to end it and then gets toppled at the 25-yard line.
Stays down on the ground, too. Trying to get up under his own power.
Giant medical staff out to check on LaRon Scott. He's trying to make this football team.
He's holding his left hamstring. Right hamstring, I should say.
Well, there's 65 preseason games. This might be the only overtime, but right now the Giants concerned about LaRon Scott as the Giant medical staff, led by the Giants' great head trainer, director of medical services, Ronnie Barnes, Dr. Russ Warren out there. Lee Weiss tending to LaRon Scott.
He's going to get up on his own and attempt to walk off.
I mentioned the last time the Giants, as Scott able to walk off under his own power, they played an overtime game in the preseason 1985 against the Jets. They beat the Jets 34-31. They lost in Miami in 1982 in an overtime preseason game. And in 1977, Giants won against Buffalo in overtime. And in 1975, the Giants won at New England. So 3-1 in preseason overtime games if you're scoring at home. 1st and 10 from the Giants 25. Painter gives it off for Darrell Scott, who fumbles the football. It's loose, and the Jets say they have it.
Now you can't win on a field goal in overtime, right?
Well, now you can.
Now you can because it
Now you can because the Giants have had a possession.
Yeah.
Well, Darrell Scott, who has watched the rookie Michael Cox press him for a roster spot behind Andre Brown and David Wilson with a costly fumble here. Poor ball security. Danny Lansana, the rookie out of UConn, popped it out. Jaquan Jarrett from Fort Hamilton High School in Brooklyn recovered it. So now the Jets are in field goal range. First turnover by the Giants. So Matt Sims threw a touchdown pass to give the Jets the lead at 21-18. Well, now they go a little wildcat right now. Sims is split to the bottom of your screen. And Khalil Bell is going to run it for 2 yards to the 24-yard line. Remember, it was a wildcat touchdown by Bilal Powell earlier in the game that netted the Jets a touchdown. Let's see if Sims takes the snap from center here in overtime. Darrell Scott wondering if he's going to have to bring the playbook this week. Again, Khalil Bell. And he plows his way to the 21-yard line. A little pushing and shoving with Broha and J.B. Sugart of the Jets.
Jets are keeping the ball in the center of the hashes.
So who's going to kick it for the Jets? Will it be Nick Falk or Billy Cundiff?
Snoopy just put on the green uniform.
3rd and 5 for the Jets at the Giants' 21-yard line. Can the Giants turn the Jets back over? And now Rex Ryan is going to send out the field goal unit, Nick Falk, on 3rd down in case you get a bad snap. You could fall on the ball and try another kick. Nick Falk, last year 21 of 27 for the Jets on field goal attempts. Signed in 2010, started his career with the Cowboys. Tanner Purdom is the long snapper. Robert Malone to hold. And Nick Falk trying to end this overtime showdown between the Giants and the Jets. This will be a 39-yard field goal. They got it centered up. Malone is set. So is Falk. And Tom Coughlin called the timeout to ice the kicker. He's icing the kicker, Coach Coughlin.
Well, it would be a regular season tactic, so why not exercise it now that you're in overtime? See if it works.
So they're going to make Folk kick it again with 13:43 to go. A lot of the kickers tell you that they like it when they ice you. It doesn't really matter. The veteran guys, and Folk qualifies as a veteran. He's a 7-year guy. So the Jets will go through the mechanics of going through their pre-shot routine with Nick Folk here in overtime. Malone to hold. And this for the win here in OT from 39 yards out from Nick Folk. Snap is good. Plenty of leg. And it's no good. He missed it. Wide right.
Well, Coach Coughlin's ice job worked. Another competition that just jumped into the spotlight, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're Rex Ryan and the Jets, you know, you got a little pressure situation, overtime winner. Send Folk out there. Wide right, which is music to Giants fans' ears. Just pushed it right. Of course, I was referring to Scott Nord. I saw one of your former teammates, Gary Reason's here.
Oh, yeah.
Rex Ryan can't believe it. He missed it. Well, put your headset on and get the defense going again. Giants to see if they can get something going offensively. With 13:39 to go in overtime. Terrain in a tailback. Painter on a 1st and 10. Pressure. Painter dropped by Jernigan.
These are the plays that Jarrell Jernigan, when he's playing against better competition and you're trying to win a game, he's got to make those plays. He's got to make them against this level of competition.
Jernigan with 3 catches last year in 8 games.
Got to be able to bail your quarterback out here. Good guy.
It's a low throw. Painter's under pressure, but still hits both hands.
That's, you know, if they expect Victor Cruz to make that play, they would expect the guy replacing him to make that play.
2nd and 10 from the Giants 29. Ryan Terrain with room. Terrain out to the 44-yard line. It's a gain of 15 and a 1st down Giants.
Terrain runs to contact. He doesn't run to daylight. He could have headed over towards the sideline there, and he finds contact.
2 years ago in Washington, he started 4 games, ran for 200 yards in 59 attempts in his 8 games of action. 1st and 10 Giants. Painter. Giants pick up the pressure nicely. Jernigan has it into Jet territory, working on Trufant. Picks up 10, 1st down Giants. And that's kind of what Tom Coughlin categorized Jernigan. You know, on again, off again.
Yeah.
Consistency is the key to sticking in the NFL.
Well, and especially playing that position, the slot position, you really have to be consistent. A lot of balls come your way. You got to make the high percentage of those receptions.
Jernigan 5 catches for 66 yards. High snap over Painter. Picks it up. And then he just minimizes the loss. Stephen Gooden, the center, snapped it over his head.
Well, you think he'd have to throw that, but he was still kind of in that pocket.
Right.
And if he didn't have a receiver, it was going to be even more penalizing than that loss of yards.
Loss of 12. That's right. That would have been intentional grounding. So he just slid down and took his medicine. 2nd and 22 for the Giants, back at their own 42-yard line. Terrain, the protector in the backfield, to the right of Painter. Better snap. Painter with time. Painter to the sideline. Collins has it to the Jet 41-yard line. So that'll set up a manageable 3rd and 5 for the Giants. Gain of 17. With 12 minutes to go in overtime. Brandon Collins with the catch. Painter get the Giants in field goal range. Harris to the bottom of your screen. Jernigan the slot left. Top of your screen is Collins, the receivers. Jets with pressure. Painter throws high and the pass incomplete, intended for Donnell. What does Tom Coughlin do?
He threw the ball right into the teeth of the blitz. He's going to punt it.
Sends out Steve Weatherford.
Yeah, this would be a 58-yarder. It's not the one you want to tax your kicker with.
So Zach Rogers goes back deep. Painter not able to get the necessary 5 yards to get the Jets in range. If the Giants snapped that ball a little earlier, the Jets would have had too many men on the field. Davis just got off. Weatherford with the reverse spin. Bounds at the 10. Giants will down it at about the 2 or 3. Coming September the 5th, it's NFL kickoff on NBC. The defending Super Bowl champion Ravens travel to Denver to take on the Broncos in a playoff rematch. Then September the 8th, it's the premiere of Sunday Night Football as the Giants travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. NFL Kick-In Weekend coming up September the 5th, only here on NBC. Well, Matt Sims races out at quarterback for the Jets. Take a look at the Sunday Night Football schedule. The Giants, the first Sunday night of the year in Dallas. Quite the lineup here on NBC4 New York. Chant of defense as Sims is back to throw. Little flat route to the tight end, Conrad Rulin. He gets tackled at the 10-yard line. It's a gain of 6. Herzlich on the tackle. Rulin was signed off waivers last year from San Francisco. Matt Sims, a bullet touchdown pass to give the Jets the lead at the 2-minute warning, 21-18. Giants drove it downfield and got a field goal to tie it. Giants fumbled it on the first possession of overtime, but after Nick Folk made the first field goal, Tom Coughlin iced him. He missed the second. Sims takes a low snap under pressure. Coteau pressing him, but he completes it to Spadola. Chased by Caldwell. And run out of bounds at about the 20-yard line.
How's that for arm strength there? He's rolling out, throws that ball down the field across his body. Big play by Matt Sims.
He was being chased by his former high school teammate, Justin Coteau, both Don Bosco preppers.
Look here, he's on the run, but his eyes are down the field, and he throws another bullet, another dart.
70-yard pass play, Sims to Spadola. They hooked up for the touchdown that gave the Jets the 21-18 lead. So now the Jets are back in field goal range with 10-10 to go here in overtime.
Perry Field's going to be pretty upset. They gave up one like that on a scramble.
Sims takes a knee trying to center it up for his kicker, and the next kicker will be Billy Cundiff. And the Jets are going to kick it on second down. Now Cundiff comes in.
Tom Coughlin has another timeout.
Now how was it? It was a 39-yarder that Folk missed?
Yeah.
And this looks like this is going to be a 39-yarder for Cundiff to win it. Coughlin's getting ready to ice him again. He's on the far side right next to the official. Quigley to hold. Cundiff to win it. Coughlin calls the timeout. As he iced the kicker. So Coughlin iced Folk, and he missed it. Cundiff, though, missed the first one.
So will he hit the second?
So Folk had missed the first attempt. Coughlin iced him. And then he missed the next one. Cundiff now misses one.
Changing personnel.
And now, and look at Now Rex takes Cundiff off the field, and Sims is back in for third down. Rex is like, he missed the kick. Coughlin called the timeout.
We got confirmation from about 5 people that they called
Coughlin's icing the kicker. It works. You know what? Now he's going to just put Matt Sims on there, and I think they're going to just run their offense.
Why not?
Madu, the tailback. Let Matt throw it. Sims to Rogers to the 15-yard line.
One thing we know, Matt Sims is not shying away from the spotlight. He's no shrinking violet. He's seizing this moment.
Coughlin and the Giants are out of timeout, so you can't ice anybody anymore.
Showing leadership there at Matt Sims. I wonder how that conversation goes in the offensive meeting rooms now. You check the status of Mark Sanchez and you look at your depth chart and you say, well, this Sims kid is pretty good the last 2 games.
He's 6 for 10. Handoff Madu into the line and short of the first down. Got a yard. Bosworth on the tackle.
Now they bring him back.
So now it's Cundiff back in. So Folk missed a couple, but one was because one didn't count because he was iced. Then Cundiff missed one, but Coughlin iced him. They got it closer for Cundiff now to try to win this thing in overtime. Quigley will hold. This will be a 33-yard field goal attempt to win the game for Billy Cundiff. Giants out of timeouts, so this one is going to stand. Cundiff is set. Snap is good. Kick on its way, and it is good. And Billy Cundiff converts in overtime with 8:04 to go from 33 yards out, and the Jets beat the Giants 24-21.
Well, Snoopy has a home for the next year. It's in green.
Yeah, last year it was the Giants victorious. This year the Jets, and Billy Cundiff, after missing a 39-yarder, Coughlin iced him. So the Jets were able to move the ball. They put Sims back in there and got a little bit closer, and Cundiff finally wins it.
Yeah.
Carl, your takeaway from this game, concerns from the Giants?
Well, I think both teams have concerns. Number one, they're going to look at the depth charts, relative to the injuries. But the other reality is, what didn't they execute that they set out to execute? And I would say, for the Giants, is getting the ball in the end zone. You'd say defensively, they got a lot accomplished. They were pretty good. The Giants were defensively, as were the Jets. They can look at their defensive stats and say, we played a good game.
And obviously the big concern, Carl, is Stevie Brown and his knee.
Yeah, I mean, that impacts your depth chart as well as Mark Sanchez and his shoulder and how they operate.
Spencer Pasinger and the Giant defense forced 5 turnovers. Steve Weatherford, the former Jet, was busy tonight. Keem Nicks couldn't hook up with Eli Manning on a go route, although they did draw a bunch of penalties from Kyle Wilson. Well, the final score here from MetLife Stadium in overtime. The Jets defeat the Giants 24-21. Don't forget, next Thursday night, the Giants are back on NBC4 New York as they travel to New England to take on the Patriots. Tomorrow, Sunday Night Football will be in San Francisco as the Niners host the Vikings. And tomorrow morning, the Premier League continues on the NBC Sports Network with a matchup between Tottenham and Swansea. Coverage begins at 11 a.m. Eastern. For Carl Banks, Bruce Beck, Sean O'Hara, and our entire crew, Bob Papa saying so long from MetLife Stadium.